I don't mean it. I don't mean kill. I mean just stand. Hey, what you gonna do when they come for your brother? Will you stand like a bull? Stand for his brother. Hey, what you gonna do when they come for your best friend? Will you stand like a bull? Stand for his best friend. I don't mean kill. I mean just stand. I don't mean
DPA Open Mic. We are live. Join the debate, join the discussion. Share your voice, share your opinion. Swallow your ego, expand your mind. DPA Open Mic, free speech zone. DPA Open Mic. We are live. DPA Open Mic. We are live. Don't hold back, 'cause here we go. Let's go. Let's go. We are live. Fucking safe space. Let's go. We are live. DPA Open Mic. DPA. We are live. We are live. We are live.
We are live. Welcome to DPA Open Mic episode 148. Sorry, 49, 149. And I have no titles for today because I just woke up. So I forced myself to wake up so that I can do this 10 p.m. Eastern timing, so that we can have a totally new timing and try this out. And I hope everything works, I guess. So this DPA Open Mic is multicast on multiple platforms as usual. So on the DPA main channel, the Defense Politics Asia channel with the black logo, and on the DPA Open Mic channel, the new one, and on the DPA Open Mic channel on Rumble and on Twitter, Telegram, and Twitch. So, and for those watching on the main channel, the black icon channel, you can also, if you want to super chat, you'll be on the main channel because that's the only one that's monetized. The Open Mic channel is not monetized, but you should subscribe over there because we want to get enough subscribers to get it monetized. So we're going to drop the link for you guys to join. There's no clear topics to what to talk about. Last week I didn't manage to do because I was really busy. There's no way I'm able to do it. Which is why we skipped 1 week. So this is like a 2-week open mic. So, and the No Kings protest is again happening, which is rather lame. Okay, I dropped the link to join. I believe this is the which one? Oh, okay. I've dropped the link to join the live stream. You can come out and chit chat. You can talk about anything you want on the DPA Open Mic, Rumble, and YouTube channel. Both I have pinned, and I've also dropped it into Twitch, and I have pinned. So, and I'm going to drop it to the DPA Open Mic speaker lounges. So that is more convenient for the regulars. And and yeah, hi Wayne.
Hey, what?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You being a good boy?
I have been a good boy. Did I hear wrong? Maybe. It sounds weird.
Oh, not much. I just been messing around. You hear about all the One Piece rebellions?
The One Piece rebellion? You mean the No Kings protest?
No, I mean the One Piece rebellions.
One
You guys
Piece?
over in Madagascar and Nepal
Well, I
carrying the
didn't see
pirate
that.
flags.
I didn't see that. Any people in the chat, do let us know if the volumes need to adjust for the various people.
Yeah, you're sounding very quiet to me.
Cool. So what do you think? There's quite a number of things happening, right, this past 2 weeks, particularly the past week. We have Zelensky visiting the White House. We have Putin chatting with Donald Trump for 2.5 hours. We have the No King protest, which is super weird because Trump is not a king. He's an emperor. He's a god emperor. So, they and then it's very funny. They went to the Commonwealth country and then they have to change the name from No Kings to No Tyrant protest. The branding is totally off. It's you cannot say No Kings in UK, so they have to change the name. firefights. Okay,
Well, yeah, I mean,
idea.
like, we've got our kings. We rather like him. He's a sensible guy.
So
So, did you hear what's happening down in, it's Zaporizhia Oblast?
Zaporizhia, the main fighting is over in the east of Huaypole. So that's where the Russians are mainly pushing in the Zaporizhia front.
Oh, but that's not the important part.
And then what?
The Ukrainians hit a train on the track from Mariupol to, just a second, I'll remember the name of that town.
Let me check. I have no idea.
It also
I
starts
just woke
with an
up.
M. Anyway, it's the main train route from the main part of Russia to into
Tokmak.
Zaporizhia and Crimea.
So trains coming from Crimea avoid Tokmak, completely going to Melitopol.
Yeah, Tokmak, that's
So-
the other place it goes to. Okay, anyway, the Ukrainians hit a train on the tracks. That was about a week ago.
Yeah, it
It's
doesn't
still
look
there.
like a breaking news. Yeah,
What do you think that's doing to the logistics?
no idea, man. Not sure, but yeah, it doesn't appear to be big enough of a news for me to for me to realize. So that's which why the Ukraine false flag, the passenger train, missile strike on residential area, wreckage of the missiles. What is these things? I have no idea.
Well, that's why you're quiet.
Oh, we
They
have
their stuff down
Solid
to
Snake here.
75%.
We have from Metal Gear Solid, the Solid Snake is here. Hi, Snake.
That train, it probably caused a temporary hiccup in the Russian logistics for that area while they figured out a reroute for it. Plus whatever was on the train, if there was anything on the train that was lost.
Yeah, but it's still there, Vaughn.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
if I'm
the
a train
problem.
guy too, I mean, maybe it's just not safe to go out and remove it right now. I mean,
Yeah,
they fly drones at work crews and road crews and guys doing stuff. So, I mean, maybe it's the same thing. They just don't want to take a chance of them getting a railroad crew smoked.
yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason I think of it.
That's why they're not moving on. But the point is that every minute that it's there, they cannot get supplies through.
I'm sure they have other ways. It's just maybe in that particular area, it might be slightly more time consuming. But I mean, there's a lot of things that have come out. I mean, like in reference to Russian logistics, I mean, it's not in the same vein as the train, but, a lot of the Russian manpower that moves up to the line of contact is usually disembarked anywhere from 50 to 30 kilometers from the line of contact. And then those guys have to infiltrate in small groups of less than 10. So that might be another reason why the offensive takes a lot longer than it does. Like I always speculate, maybe they're clearing stuff out and all that. It might just be a matter of they go into an area, they secure it, they hold it, but the follow-on forces trickle in, so it might take a lot longer to get in there because they can't mass forces. So I saw the story. I mean, they said there's some instances where guys will walk up to 50 clicks to the front line in small groups just to avoid the drones and stuff. Now, that's obviously not everywhere in the front line, but obviously in the areas where the Ukrainians have a drone advantage or there's a lot of drones or whatever, then that's how they're getting in there. And that might be why it's slow in some of those areas, because those are the areas where there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of drones, so they can't really shove guys in there. And when you see a big move or a big area taken, maybe that's because they finally got an edge over the drones and they were able to mass some forces and make a quick strike in and take a settlement or secure a settlement better. But a lot of times what these guys do is they'll infiltrate the DRGs, they'll secure a spot, and ideally the stormtroopers are supposed to flood in after that. But that doesn't always work out because, like in the Evil Rabbit, one of the problems they were having up there was just getting those guys up all the way through there, and you can see how long that line of logistics would have been. And a lot of it was only, I think, supplied by drones. So, I mean, logistics is logistics, Wayne. I mean, The train sucks, but they'll figure it out probably pretty quick. And who knows, they might even have a parallel line nearby that they just switch it to. But I mean, my assumption is they don't want to risk a crew working on the train.
Bridge was how they were getting it there before.
Yeah, but the Kerch Bridge is still there, and I'm sure there's spurs off of it somewhere that they can use still.
It's been damaged, so I mean, like, how much weight can they put over it? Never mind the fact it's an easy targeting range. So,
yeah, I mean, it's been shot at multiple times. I mean, it's got defenses around it. It's got the pilings around it to stop the boats and stuff from hitting it now. I mean, they can still hit the, near the structure, but they're not actually hitting the bridge. So, I mean, then you've seen the HIMARS and all that shit. It doesn't do anything to a bridge, put holes in the deck. But, I mean, if they drop that bridge, it's going to be a massive attack with lots of weapons. It's not going to be this bullshit with a suicide drone boat or a couple Tomahawks or whatever they, some flamingo they pulled out of their ass.
Well, they're not going to drop it yet. They're waiting. My guess is they're waiting for a few more Russians to depart. If they leave on their own, it's a lot easier.
I mean, if they depart to Crimea and they blow up the bridge, it's not like they're trapped. They can just flow from the north of Crimea into southern Ukraine and into Melitopol and Kherson and Nikolaev.
And in areas they're getting shot at regularly.
I mean, they get shot at right now, and they're still. What did they pick up today? 72 today, or 71, 70 point something today, 72 yesterday. It's been like probably in excess of 100 and some kilometers in the last 4 or 5 days. I mean, some of it's been catch-up shit, but, they're losing terrain in all the right places. Kupiansk, all around Komar, Pokrovsk, up around Toretsk. And, I mean, all the hot spots are gone, maybe. We got till October 31st. I'm counting on some shit being gone.
Super chat by Johari. So Trump says no Tomahawks, but they will eventually give it either way.
No, just real quick. On the Tomahawks, if they were to get any, they'd probably get 30 to 50 of the Block 3s, which are like the oldest. It doesn't sound like the U.S. would give away any of the Block 4s and definitely not the Block 5s because there's smaller quantities and they're more advanced. And the fact of the matter is the Russian air defenses are geared towards shooting down cruise missiles and shit, especially something as old as the Tomahawk. And the other thing is ground-based launchers. I saw a story the other day. I wouldn't be surprised if the United States entire, NATO, whatever you want to call it, doesn't have but a dozen launchers, ground launchers available in the inventory. And that's including 2 experimental Marine single-shot trucks that they started, but they shit-canned the program, so they may or may not even be around to use. That's a single-shot truck, which is, big. And the other one is they have a battery of a 4-shot Typhoon launcher, which looks about as big as that fucking Chinese truck in the parade with the laser, so it's ungodly big. And it's got a giant VLS 4-pack on the back that goes vertical. And there's maybe a dozen of those available. There's no way in hell Ukraine is going to get that any of those ground launchers out of that finite supply. So the Tomahawk question, as far as I'm concerned, is dead unless they're going to give up one of those ground launchers. But they're so big and easily to find and target, it would be like a one-shot thing. And maybe the U.S. wants to send it there and fire some Block 4s or 5s at Russia to see, but I kind of doubt that's going to happen. I think that whole thing was more media-driven. Maybe just some posturing, but yeah, just looking at the ground-based launchers, that's a no deal.
I don't know whether they'll get them or not, but I had a really evil idea this morning. I was thinking about targeting and cruise missiles. The original Neptune Ukrainians came out with was basically naval focused. It didn't have a ground attack mode. And we've seen lots of ground attack missiles that don't have a naval attack mode. But recently, people have been adding the other mode on. It's an obvious thing to do. And I got to thinking, what if you add a third attack mode? Make every cruise missile also a anti-radiation missile. They turn on the radar to take down the cruise missile. The cruise missile takes out the radar.
But the chances are that the missile will shoot down the cruise missile because the cruise missile's slow, relatively speaking, compared to like an anti-radiation missile, which is faster and usually launched from a fast jet because you got to get away.
Yeah, but if there's 4 or 5 coming in, that just might overload the launcher. It's worth a try.
I mean, yeah, it's worth a try, but realistically, if you're going to shoot Tomahawks at Russia, the homeland, you're going to have to launch hundreds of cruise missiles into the target area to hit stuff and expect to do any kind of damage. You're not going to do it with 5. I mean, seriously, even if they jerry-rigged a truck up, what are you going to do with 5? I mean, chances are if you shoot 5 Tomahawks at Russia, they'll shoot them down.
You might kill Putin. You might set off a nuclear reaction at a reactor. You might actually get somewhere, Wayne. You might actually start World War III. It's like this is silly. Arguing that Ukraine can't do anything. Of course they can. Ukraine can precipitate a nuclear exchange in Europe. Absolutely they can. And there's a lot of people in NATO that actually want that because they're clearly insane. And this may happen, and like this really childish thinking of yours, Wayne. Oh, what if we just poke the bear a bit more? What if we do something else to Russia? What if we do something else to Russia? Well, that has one of 2 outcomes. It either makes Russia stronger by teaching Russia how we want to fight, or alternatively, it precipitates World War III. There is no other outcome. And this is what is so insane about the whole Ukraine conflict. Nobody genuinely believes Ukraine is going to win. Because that's not on the table, and it never has been, because Russia is a large nuclear power.
And the best case scenario is if you use those Tomahawks with American assistance, and Russia retaliates, we get off light with like an Orishnik shot at Ramstein or somewhere in Poland to as a counter to the strike by the Tomahawks, and then hopefully everybody's like, okay, we don't want to go any farther, That's the best you could hope for, but you start firing Tomahawks in there, which is a missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, and who's to say the dipshits in Ukraine wouldn't throw a dirty bomb in there? I mean, they're suicidal. I mean, even Trump said it, that it's clear to him that Zelensky wants an escalation, whereas they're trying to get to the peace table. So, I mean, Tomahawks it's not feasible for them to use them. They can't use them in the quantities to even affect Russia, and it's an escalation that we can't deal with.
And what kind of precedent is it? So what happens if China decides to supplying their new version of satellite-guided cruise missiles to Burma, to the rebels in Burma? What if China decides to light up that theater in Southeast Asia with 10,000 cruise missiles just to see what happens? Because after all, you can do that now. So this kind of escalation in Ukraine for shits and giggles, even if it doesn't lead to a barbecued Europe, and there's merit in that, but even if it doesn't take us to that happy day, it sets all kinds of bad precedents around the globe, which is one of the things about dealing with nuclear-powered superpowers. You have to actually be careful about the precedent you're setting, Wayne.
Oh, really? I mean, I'm amazed at how terrified people are of minor countries like Russia.
Dude, they have thousands of nuclear weapons. Being respectful of them and worried about the potential downside of that arsenal being unleashed because of a miscalculation is probably something people should think about. And hopefully the people on both capitals are thinking about it every fucking second, about what we do to not get to the point where all of civilization ends because some dipshit wanted to save a few.
It's got to end sometime, Vaughn. It's got to end sometime. The Russians don't scare me. I'll tell you what scares me is Wayne, because then we're talking about the condition of man and like the whole fall thing and the what is your soul worth. So like I'm not worried about Russia, and I figure Like, obviously there's a lot of folks that have got those nukes coming. But Wayne, you're disturbing the young people, and I wish you'd stop.
I've been
What are
disturbing
we talking about?
for a long time, man. I ain't going to stop.
So, like, I've been working. What's going on in the world apart from Ukraine?
Trump's flying B-52s and B-2s around Venezuela, daring them to fuck around and find out, I guess. I mean,
looking for a peace
apparently
prize.
Rick Grinnell, who is a former CIA guy, I guess he used to run the CIA, or he was up in the intelligence thing in the first Trump administration. Really solid guy from what I know, even if he is a homosexual, he's still solid diplomatically and geopolitically. He still knows how to take it for America and give the opposition what they need. But apparently he had come to some kind of agreement with Maduro where he would remain in power and basically become our puppet. And apparently Rubio nixed the idea because they don't want Maduro in power, which is stupid. It's like, I get you don't like Maduro, but the idea that you can't work with Maduro as your little sock puppet, which he's apparently may have agreed to do, is ridiculous. You worked with fucking Bashir Assad, you worked with Saddam, you worked with the Iranians, you worked with the Israelis, you worked with Stalin. There's plenty of motherfuckers the United States have been friends with and had the Shah of Iran, all these motherfuckers that they did business with, and then, later on they changed their mind. So the idea that they can't keep Maduro on a short leash, it's like, do what we say and you can stay in power, give us everything we want, you can stay in power. And if he doesn't follow through with the agreement, then you smoke him and put in the chick that got the prize. But if you can get Venezuela and all that without firing a shot, that seems to be the smart play. But for what there's another guy here, I'll give him credit, Thomas. He said, well, it's a great deal. No, not a bullet fired and you get the country. He goes, but that doesn't help out the guys that need you to drop bombs and expend ordnance so they can get paid when you have to refill the stocks. So it's probably more along that lines, because if that's a legit deal that Maduro made, then we should take it. But obviously we got to expend a few $1 billion in ordnance first before we can take the deal. But it's kind of lame that was out.
I mean, if you're not going to bomb Venezuela, Vaughn, then what's it for?
Well, you got the drug boats, 10 pounds of cocaine for $50 billion in missiles.
No, that's rookie. That's rookie numbers. We've got factories orders to fill. There's tens of billions of dollars just lying on the table, Vaughn.
Oh, last week too, there was a explosion in Tennessee at a factory that builds 155 ammo. The factory does not exist anymore. It was completely obliterated, and 19 people were killed at least. They said missing, but the idea that they said missing was ridiculous. They made earlier in the week in Tennessee, there's a factory. They make the 155s, and they make some other components, explosive components for other munitions.
Their bodies were scattered to the four corners of the earth by the explosion.
Yeah, it's just
so we don't know if they're dead or alive.
Yeah, the whole, it was like a big, tall, like silo-looking building, and now it's just like a black spot where the building was, so no one knows what happened. Obviously, if you're working with
there was an explosion.
Yeah, but it was whatever blew up. I mean, that building's gone, and whatever production they had out of that's gone too. So, did Trump plan on that with this big reindustrialization? We're gonna get another new bomb factory, just to replace the one we lost. But yeah, I mean, it's sad.
Well, bricks and windows and all that, right? There is some truth to that whole theory of economics.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but now we're farther behind because we lost.
I'm not hiding, man. It's just something called nighttime, So what can I do? It's dark. There's no moon out. I don't know. What do you want me to do?
You people having candles?
I'll turn my lighter on whenever I want to talk.
I was going to say smile, then we know you're there.
Set fire to something. Create fire.
Here, look, I'm Bigari. I'm Bigari. See, I got fire right here.
Yeah, seen enough. Look, I heard there was peace in Israel or something.
Fucking rude.
Did that happen?
Yeah, well, so this is what I wanted to talk about, actually, right? It was peace in Israel, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, look, I mean,
folks, he'll be here all week. That's hilarious.
well, it's kind of you're talking about the Nobel Prize, right? So this ceasefire that Trump has brokered, you know, who knows if it'll hold, right? I think everybody is withholding judgment until we see if it actually holds for a substantial length of time. But suppose that it does, hypothetically, right? The 1 year anniversary of the ceasefire is going to fall about 2 days before next year's Nobel Prize ceremony. I think that Trump is going to be an absolute shoo-in for the Nobel Prize next year. On the topic of the Nobel Prize, I just wanted to say my piece on this. I think it's kind of interesting that people are treating Trump as if he's been shafted by the Nobel Committee because they gave the Nobel Peace Prize to this, what's her name? This fucking, what's her name again? I'm forgetting her name, Machado or something from Venezuela.
Amy
Machado.
Comey Barrett.
Yeah. Well, this is literally Trump's person in Venezuela. I was going to say Trump's man in Venezuela, but she's been she is the Zelensky of Venezuela, right? She's being prepared as the savior after regime change happens in Venezuela. She'll be the heir apparent. She's the pro-West candidate, the pro-US, pro-Trump candidate, and the Nobel
She's
Committee
probably a really nice
has.
lady.
I'm sure she's just lovely, just like Hillary Clinton and Victoria Nuland and all the other wonderful characters in my fan fiction. But all of these. The point is that the Nobel Committee has given the Nobel Peace Prize to Trump's puppet in Venezuela, and the media narrative is, haha, they shafted him because they made some smarmy comment, and they didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize. They made some smarmy comment about how they wouldn't give the Nobel Peace Prize to Trump because he's not smart enough or uncouth or something. I mean, the fact is that they've bent the knee entirely to Trump. This is the thing, this is the whole this idea of the European resistance to Trump is so incredibly false and pathetic, on the face of it. I mean, the Nobel Committee are supposed to be these elite European technocrats that stand for everything that Trump doesn't, and yet they're completely falling in line with him. It seems to me that the day of the God Emperor has arrived, and it will be a long day.
It's like yoga. It's like Europe is like yoga. You have to believe in it for it to work properly. That's my thought for today. We were talking about the Middle East. Does anyone know, like, have hostilities ceased in Israel?
Well, the hostages,
or Gaza? Or
hostilities have ceased. It looks like hostages have been released by Hamas to the Israelis, and a concordant number of Palestinian prisoners have been released as well. It looks like Tony Blair is all over this, by the way. And there's going to be some kind of technocratic administration in Gaza, which sounds fucking horrible.
Is there anyone else in Gaza except Israel at the moment? Like, have any UN troops gone in or anything like that?
No.
Are the Americans going to go and spread some freedom?
No, I don't think the Americans are going to send in any.
They said there might be like 200 Americans there at some point, but they made it sound like they were going to be involved in like organization and logistical shit, not anything else. But we all know that's probably horse shit.
Yeah, bingo and hand out some cokes.
Guess we'll see, won't we?
Well, some good news.
Someday you'll bend the knee, Wayne, when you become the 51st province.
Is there any news on that?
No. The Canadians are still being obstinate, denying their destiny, living in the past.
They just want to feel valued. They want to feel like they're worth taking by force.
They want to feel Prince Charles's chubby sausage fingers running through their hair.
Hot.
Actually, no, we are still in the US
I've-
timing. We
I've
should
left
talk a
wait
bit
and
more about the
speechless.
American stuff before the Europeans come. We can talk more about the American topics. I think a lot of policy changes also, right, in United States. A lot of things. I think the big one is the best of what is it, most favored nations for the medicine and the drugs. That's a very big news, which the media don't want to talk more about. And yeah, so I think the infamous American medical cost is going to be history soon. Archimedes, what do you think?
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm
Very
yeah.
pragmatic.
I mean, I hope to see. We do see it, but I don't know. I think that's kind of pretty far down the list of problems. But yeah, no, we'll see what happens with these pharmaceuticals.
And then, like on the No Kings protest, I mean, me and Archimedes were talking about this earlier. I took some pictures and stuff. You know, there was a few feds mixed in, maybe a couple Antifa-looking possible little faggots, but mostly like Archimedes said, you know, it was like really old boomer people.
Yep.
I even saw my mother-in-law at the end of the march.
Hmm.
I waved at her. She saw me up in the window, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm taking pictures. I'm turning her over to DHS later tonight. Finally, after all these years, I'll get that old hag."
There's ICE enforcers patrolling the streets and shit. Is that going on?
No, they
Oh
had
my God, there's two of me.
they had inflatable. You know, there was inflatable people walking around in the thing. I saw the Kool-Aid man. Oh, and I was going to tell you, Wayne, some guy had a one-piece flag. So I thought that was funny you mentioned it. He had a one-piece flag. And then there was somebody with a commie flag. And then there was, you know, all the No King shit.
Well, this is the thing. These people are thoroughly unserious, right? I mean, this is, you know, there is really no serious opposition to Trump with any energy from the Democrats, like there was back in 2020 when there was the BLM protests. Now those were, you know, serious kinetic protests. You know, there was a lot of monkeying around, let's just say, that was going on during that time. And there's none of that this time. There's none of it at all. It's actually incredibly peaceful. And in fact, the entire media narrative that the left is pushing is simply, you know, jerking themselves off about how peaceful they are, as opposed to, you know, the boomer con Fox News narrative that, oh, they're so violent. Oh no, we're actually peaceful. I mean, this is a really nice position for the left to be in, to be bending over backwards to say, actually, we're weak, we're ineffective, we're weak, we're ineffective. Please, please, please don't hurt us anymore. We're useless and worthless. You know, listen to this. This is from this organization called Democrats Abroad. Okay. Of other events around the world to, quote, no tyrants.
The fuck?
What I liked was the statement by the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He said it was the most terrifying thing he'd ever seen.
Hey, did that come through? I'm not sure if my audio is working. Did you guys hear my reading from the Democrats Abroad?
No.
You need to repeat
no,
again.
you did disappear for a moment.
Heck, fail, bro.
Yeah, you got cut off somehow.
Then
Hang
Wayne
on.
started speaking.
Okay, give me a second. I have technical issues.
Jesus.
I'm more concerned about No Viceroy's Day than
What's
King's.
the viceroy?
I don't know. It sounds scary, though. It
That's
sounds
So
scary.
I just love, you know, the Speaker of the House of Representatives being absolutely terrified of the protesters.
I'm pretty sure he was probably being sarcastic.
Naked
He
bike
was
ride.
probably being sarcastic when he saw those protesters with walkers and shit. You know, Pokemon and One Piece. Yeah, he was
No,
terrified.
it was the naked bike ride he was upset about.
I
Yeah, well,
kind of
this is the
feel
thing,
like
right? they're very upset. Oh yes, we're gonna make the Republicans upset by showing them how weak and pathetic and and hilarious we are, right? And this is what the Democrats are trying to do. They're trying to show themselves to be as as pointless as possible. So go ahead
You
and
feel like
let
a
me just read this out.
viceroy. Hang on, before
I'll
you
just
do, I was just going to say, I think a viceroy is what happens like when you miss out on becoming a duke, you become a viceroy. That's, I think that's what that is.
right.
Super chat by Johari. Vaughn, how's the government shutdown affecting people? Oh yeah, that's a good question actually.
Well, supposedly, like a lot of the government employees aren't getting paid. The military's not getting paid. Supposedly, I don't know. I usually they figure that shit out, and even if they don't get paid, they still get back pay. So it's not like they'll be out anything other than the
This happens
inconvenience.
every 2 years.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
gives a shit?
the only thing that might come out of it that would be noteworthy would be if they actually fire a bunch of these people during the shutdown, which is legal. And he's already tried, but a judge stepped in, so now they got to go through that bullshit before he gets told he can do it. So, maybe we'll lose 10 or 20,000, maybe 40 or 50 if it's really good. But I wouldn't put it higher than 50,000 layoffs if he pulls this off. But even then, I don't know what that's really going to affect or what area that's going to be in. If it's like in worthless departments, then that would be great. But if it's in places we actually need people.
Well, this was one of the great wins of the early Trump 2025 administration, right? Was killing USAID, or not quite killing it, but almost killing it. And that's what we want to see more of. Or what I want to see more of anyway. I won't speak for anyone else. Is the destruction of this bureaucratic state. And part of that is, just to come back to what I was saying earlier, is this organization called Democrats Abroad. And I just want to read something from them. They're talking about the No Kings protests being organized around the world, not just in America, because after all, we do have to all unite against Orange Hitler. A few notes, quote, "We've changed the No Kings theme of other events around the world to No Tyrants, so as not to mix messages in a country with a monarchy. We're also swapping out no crowns in favor of no clowns. Come dressed as a Trump clown, as Donald Trump himself or as one of his cronies." I think this whole thing is a psyop to. It's just a psyop to fucking make Democrats make fools of themselves.
I
Honestly,
tried to dress up like Kristi Noem earlier, but I just couldn't get the makeup right. It kept fucking.
I think, Yvonne, I think that's illegal in Trump's America. You can't do that anymore.
Oh shit! Well, I didn't videotape.
The lady that hates dogs. Doesn't she hate dogs?
Yeah, she shot a dog because it wasn't trainable, apparently.
Toby, I've been in VCs where you've had fucking peanut barking. I think you're not. Don't say that you're above that type of behavior. One bad day and you'd snap. Yeah.
I don't shoot no dogs. I'm not some psycho from Alabama.
Hey, she's from South Dakota.
Same thing.
Wow. The ignorance on display.
Anyway, I gotta run, guys. It's pretty late here. Have a good evening.
You better get some sleep before that invasion.
Yeah, I need my beauty sleep. Look, this is what
you need a lot more than that.
Screen.
Oh, I really don't want. I don't want the house tour win.
See, two different screens.
2 screens, huh? Woo!
Yeah. I decided to get fancy. Makes working easier. Anyway, have a good evening.
Yeah.
See you, Win. I got 3 screens. Yeah.
So I have a question about.
Go ahead.
I have a question, Wyatt, for you about the Ukraine reporting. I've just been watching the reports over the last couple of weeks. It seems like both sides have accepted that they're going to go back to the borders. I see the advances in Donetsk towards the borders with Pokrovsk and the rest of it. They seem to be stopping when they get to the borders of Zaporizhia.
Yeah, but it's not.
Do you think we're just going to see Yeah, but Russia is not doing any massive movements. It just seems to me that Russia is just grinding it out, and that both sides might be essentially waiting for the peace to break out, and that it will be along the lines of what Russia has already proposed.
Yeah, I that's the feeling I get as well. It's like there is this consideration on the back of the mind. Like maybe the war is going to end suddenly, so you don't conquer places that is not necessary. So but then in certain places they still invaded into the Dnipro-Petrov region. So I think then other parts, they follow the border of Donetsk very closely. So it's super weird. It's like it's just not a normal war. Like it's really like what they say, special military operation. It's like there's a very specific thing that they're trying to do, but it's really unclear what they're trying to do. So like
Attrition.
that's what the Ukrainians say too. It's super funny when I read the Ukrainian, the pro-Ukrainian narrative. They're saying exactly what the pro-Russians are saying. Is that it's not about conquering grounds. It's about attritioning and killing off the enemies.
Well, did you see History Legends' last report about the attrition warfare of this year? I guess from like Kursk to now, and he said that the casualty rate between the Russians and the Ukrainians is like basically 1-to-1, maybe like 1.1 or 2 to 1, slightly in favor of the Russians. So but he was also saying like last year the Russians would lose 10 men per kilometer advance. This year it's down to 5 men. So they're taking less casualties to get the same amount of ground. And it's just more the signs of just how scattered the Ukrainian army is, because it's obviously what's going on is they're finding these spots where the Ukrainians are weak and putting the heat on them, and then it draws them in from other places, and then those places open up, and you can see the whole. I mean, you got Komar, you got the Hulapole area, you got Pokrovsk, you got that whole Toretsk area, Seversk, Kupiansk, Liman, and Yampol. I mean, look at what happened in Vochansk too. I mean, that picked up big time the other day. So, I mean, even that, I wouldn't have thought that was, likely to give that much up all of a sudden. So who knows? But I mean, there's a lot of places the Russians are picking up ground. I mean, a lot of people say, it's not a lot. But it's key pieces of terrain that they need to get. It's like, yeah, they only took a couple tree lines, but you look at the tree lines they took, and it's like, they're working their way around and up or down and around. It's like they don't have to go head on. They just go around everybody, and then you get caught in the impossible salience. And I mean, you got to look at – I'm wondering what's going on with Kupiansk on the east side, because those guys are getting pushed down from the north and east and in the east and the southeast, not as much from the south, but it's like they really can't cross back into Kupiansk on the west side because the Russians are pretty much sitting on that bridge. So I assume that's cut off, and that's not an access route. So, I mean, what's going on the east side? Are these guys slowly dropping southwest back out of that pocket to get south of, Kupiansk before the west side falls? Because I don't see them getting across the river anywhere around Kupiansk proper. And that salience, once they get that bridge, or if they take that west side of Kupiansk, let's say another kilometer south of where they're at right now, that's kind of a wrap for the east side of the city. I mean, I guess you could stay in there and fight, but then you got to worry about getting cut off from the south, because you can't go east, you can't go west anymore, you can't go north. It's only really that southern way out. And I wonder if I've heard stories of them saying they've authorized the evacuation and withdrawal of troops, but I don't know if that's going on down there or not, but that seems like something that should be happening, but I don't know.
I saw Odessa got put under martial law too. Zelensky said the mayor is like a closet Russian or something, and so there's obviously like a lot going on politically inside the parts of Ukraine that aren't on the front line, because that kind of came out of nowhere. But it makes me really wonder what the public sentiment is like throughout Ukraine, because obviously in places like Lvov it might still be quite rosy, but if Odessa's being put under martial law, I don't imagine Curzon would be all that happy, or Kharkov or Sumy.
I saw something too, though. Somebody was saying that The Russians may, I think it was the Ukrainians were claiming the Russians might try to do some kind of amphibious assault, which I don't see happening. I mean, I can see them getting prepared for the defense of Odessa down the road, but even right now, I mean, unless they're that worried that, they want to go ahead and militarize Odessa now and just, have another 6 months to a year to get ready.
I don't think the Russians are going to precipitate. I don't think the Russians are going to precipitate any large-scale military action, and the reason is that the narrative that they have to push in this war is to win hearts and minds in Ukraine. They can't have some kind of bloodthirsty ethnic hatred that leads to the eradication of folks, because there's too many cultural and family ties between Russia and Ukraine. And they'd be perfectly well aware that people are being conscripted and fed into the meat grinders on the front lines, and killing them doesn't really do anything for Russia. What advances Russia's cause is killing their ideological enemies. So people who take money from NATO, people who are usually in the back lines, people in the SBU, the oligarchs that profit from the alliance with NATO. So that's a very intelligence-focused war. They're not going to break out a large-scale conflict on the front line, which would lead to, significant civilian and troop casualties. I don't see the incentive, and it would harm the narrative they're trying to push, that they actually care about the loss of life. And the other thing is, if and when there is a political settlement, all those young men in the trenches on the Ukrainian side are going to be required to go and work either in the fields or in the factories, because otherwise occupying Ukraine and managing Ukraine as a going concern becomes like a real problem. Because it's one thing to win a prize, but if your prize is a chemically irradiated wasteland with nobody in it, full of weeds and empty mines that are leaking and infrastructure that's decaying, and you haven't got the manpower to staff that, so like what happens then? It becomes like massively costly to upkeep it. It doesn't become a productive asset. So I think Russia are looking towards a political settlement where all of those people in the Ukrainian trenches actually go to work as part of the redeemed Russian Brotherhood. I'm not saying this is going to happen or that it's a righteous thing or anything else, but this is the Russian win condition: is that they actually start they regain economic control and profitability out of that part of the world. That's not going to happen if you just have these massively costly battles that involve the huge loss of life and casualties on both sides. So I think Russia are playing politically, and I don't think their objective is to kill large numbers of people. I think they'd like to kill very specific people. But I think that's more of an intelligence operation than anything else.
You look at the situation in Ukraine, you see the way that, look, Russia's problem with Ukraine has not exactly some specific territory of the Donbass, right? I mean, look at the idea that Russia simply needs to, that their win condition, as you put it, is simply to achieve, the 4 oblasts, like those particular lines in the sand, right? Like, what's so special about those lines? I mean, if you look at the map of Russian speakers and Russian ethnics in Ukraine, it doesn't exactly conform to that line. There's a huge amount of Russian speakers and culture and in Odessa, and Kharkiv and all the rest, and the rest of that sort of zone. Well, sure, yeah.
No, but this is the thing, right? It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. Some people believe that Russia begins in Alsace.
So what I'm saying is that the point is that ultimately the Ukrainian identity itself, is sort of deeply connected to the Russian one in a way that the Polish identity isn't. Not even in the same way, right? Even the Baltics. Well, you don't think so, huh? But I think Ukraine, if you look at its history, is more deeply connected to Russia than the others. So it's not about just taking these. Yeah.
If you made a poll,
take the super chats to you on Rumble. Say, Toby, I agree.
Of course you do. No, so here's the thing, Archimedes. if you meet your average Pole, sober, drunk, whatever, right, just in the street, and he's polishing along, does that strike you as like a German or a Russian? If you had to like lean
As a,
one way or the other.
as a Pole, nothing more, nothing less.
No,
It's truly an independent Pole
you're
in the
so
multipolar
evasive.
world,
You're
man.
such a sneaky man. Come on, just like tackle this head on. Be brave. Like,
Is he more of a
understand what
Russian or
I'm-
more of a German? Is that what you're asking?
What are you vibing? Like,
Yeah.
are you feeling? Are you feeling Mother Russia, or are you
dude.
feeling like
Vibe-wise,
spirit?
Poland is 100% within the fucking Slav squat, fucking Suka
Thank
Bliat
you.
fucking side of Europe.
Thank
It's
you.
true. Except instead
That's
of
all I'm
Suka
saying.
Bliat, it's
I'm not saying
Kurwa. You know what I mean? They're
I'm not saying
Slavs.
it's
It's
good or
true.
it's
I see what
bad.
you're saying.
I'm
Like
just saying. Yeah.
they're poors from the eastern side of poor. Europe in general is very poor, but Eastern Europe is especially poor. I mean, the commies were
Yeah.
fucking brokies. You know what I mean? They didn't know how to party like we did in
Well, they
America.
might not love money as much as your people, Archimedes.
That's all I'm trying to say. And what do you mean
I
your
wouldn't say that.
people?
Well, they've got forests. They've got swamps.
Last I heard, it was your people who love the money the most. Being
What?
part of the IAJ, the
What?
indigenous
The what? Slaves of
Australian,
Australia.
the indigenous Australian Jew himself.
Yeah.
We love money,
Well, I don't know if that's true.
regardless. Not as much as the Ukrainians, right? And this is the story with the Ukrainian Oblast, man. It's not about the territory, right? It's about the nation of Ukraine. It's about the state of Ukraine. Whether the state of Ukraine is in the western camp or the eastern camp, right? Poland is culturally right in the eastern camp, okay, because of the 20th century and because of the history before that. But but politically, they're absolutely, economically, absolutely in the western sphere of influence, right? Right now, they're on Team West. They're on Team NATO, and Ukraine. If Ukraine is to join Team NATO, that is the thing, the outcome that Russia, I believe, fundamentally wants to avoid. It doesn't exactly matter what the lines on the map are. It matters whether Ukraine is really part of Team West or not. And so, what this will require, in order for for Russia to have a win condition, is for Ukraine to be broken up into two independent states, quote unquote independent states of West Ukraine, East Ukraine, if you will, or Ukraine and Ukraine if you prefer, just like Korea and North and South Korea. You have these two Ukraines. One of them is Western, one of them is Eastern. That's what has to happen, I believe. It's not about the territory that Russia annexes directly. Ultimately, there needs to be a split in the country.
Could we call the Lvov region Galicia? Could we do that?
Well, I think it's going to have to be either Galicia. Well, I think it's going to have to be Ukraine. Realistically, it'll be called Ukraine by the West, and the other side will be called the unrecognized territories that are temporarily occupied.
If you
by the
don't
Russian
call
forces.
it Galicia, then you lose the opportunity of reminding the world that Poland basically grabbed all that land off the Austro-Hungarian Empire about 100 years ago.
Well, you'd have to Policize Galicia. That's part of the deal. Like, what's the Polish version of Galicia?
Well, that's Ukraine.
Well, the word, right? If you say it in Polish,
Galicia was the province that encompassed Warsaw and Lvov when it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, right? So that whole region of southern Poland and western Ukraine was a province called Galicia, and it was an interesting province because it had Catholics in Warsaw, and it had Orthodox over in Lvov. Warsaw was much more urban, more developed economy. The area around Lvov was very rural, agrarian. It wasn't highly developed. The Mongols had kind of kept the whole of Ukraine depopulated for so long. There was no real size of anything. But it was a really staunch Orthodox population in one half of Galicia and Catholic Polish in the other. And when the Austro-Hungarian Empire was broken up and Galicia was just, dismembered at the end of the First World War, the Allies, using their new client state of Poland, grabbled up a good part of Galicia and tried to get all of it. And they ended up fighting the Orthodox folks who were Banderas people, right? Banderas people actually lived in what is now Poland because they were in like the middle part of Galicia. And all those Orthodox folks got sort of like ethnically cleansed out of there as the Polish moved in, hence all the bad blood between Poland and Ukraine today.
Well, the Ukrainians got them back from there.
Well, Yeah, kind of. Well, the Germans did, right? And this is why Bandera and his folks were like cheering on the Germans, because the Germans invaded Poland and did away with this allied concept of a Polish state briefly.
Mm,
That didn't
mm.
that didn't last very long, because at the end of the war it rose again from the ashes. So
Well,
I just think that if we're going to go back to a two-state solution, if you've got a Western Ukraine, that's the context it's going back into. You're talking about a place that used to be part of a bigger place that was a big problem place. So I don't know. I just don't know how viable it is to have a Western Ukraine, just because of the history with Poland, the history with Hungary, history with Belarus, the history with Russia. I don't know. I just kind of feel like if there was going to be such a state as Ukraine, then there would be a state called Ukraine, and there kind of isn't. It's just a shit fight, like leftover battlefield from Second World War that no one wanted. So I don't know. I
well,
really have no idea how
so
it's going to pan
I
out.
mean, could it become like some new form of Ukraine? Like it could be renamed to Malorussia or something, or Novorussia,
Yeah,
the whole thing. I mean, the point
anything
is
could
that
happen. I mean, those people
but
might
the
be
point
really
is it
nice
needs to
and
be
pink,
split
pink
up.
ponies, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like
Wow.
they're carrying on the Bandera ideology of trying to create a pure ethno state in the middle of Western Europe, middle of Europe, which is bananas, right? Nevertheless, here we are, right? You do have a group of people, like, I'm not saying Nazi because that's a German thing 80 years ago, whatever, 100 years ago, but the thing is about the ethnocentric ideology of Bandera. He barely even called it ideology. He didn't read books or anything. He's just like this goon, right? And a young man. But this ethnocentric idea that a state is born from bloodshed and violence, it's fascinating from like a poetic,
Mm.
academic, theoretical point of view. But it's going to get your curb stomped in the modern world when you're talking about states that have got serious weapons, let alone nukes. So the whole thing is just very I don't know. I don't really take Ukraine seriously as a state because they're attacking Russia and they live next door to Russia and they don't have nukes. And so I can reason my way to the outcome of that, and it's not very good for Ukraine. So, like, it doesn't seem like a serious place to me. Fighting Russia without nukes when you live next door to them doesn't seem like a very good idea. It doesn't seem like a thing a serious person would do.
I think like some of the things that'll have to happen with whatever's left of Ukraine is, the Russians are going to have, I stand by, they're going to have to control an area around Chernobyl. Realistically, they're going to have to cut over across the Dnieper at some point and take Kryvyi Rih, because that's another nuclear site. And then eventually they're going to have to get down to Odessa, however they do that, by force or negotiation. And they need to link up with Transnistria. And, that needs to, and run it up along the Dnieper, do whatever you want to do with Kiev. Maybe it's an open city. Maybe it's a neutral city. Maybe it's Russian. Maybe they take everything on the east side. I don't know. But I think the bottom line is like whatever's left of Ukraine. I would assume the Russians will have a heavy presence there, whether they're wanted or not, to finish hunting down and dealing with nationalists and other political issues and problems. So, there'll be the Civil War. There'll be, basically the, Nazi hunter 2.0 that's going to go on across, Ukraine and Europe and wherever, So, I think it'll, maybe somebody smart could get in there and just say, hey, turn us into like a transportation hub or something beneficial to the surrounding countries. I don't know what that would be, but really, they need to really be kind of neutered into a small area. I joke around with Miro and say the Polish should just move in there now and say they're there to stabilize the area, and then just don't leave. Just kind of forget to leave, and maybe in a few years nobody will care. As long as it's stable and stuff, it doesn't really matter what happens. But I think the bottom line for Russia is that place has to be, set up the way they want it, all the way around it, and then they're going to probably have a real big say in what goes on inside of whatever's left of Ukraine, the dirty work and the rebuilding, through proxies. But
I agree with all that. I agree with all that, but like I don't see how the Dnieper can be part of an independent Ukraine or a Western Ukraine, and the reason is Belarus, because like Russia already control the mouth of the Dnieper. the Dnieper it goes right up into Belarus to Minsk, right? That's their port channel. That's their artery, commercial artery for all their exports and imports. If that belongs to geopolitically the other side, then Belarus is really like not winning. If Russia and Belarus together can control the whole of the Dnieper, so in other words, if they get Kiev and they get the Dnieper and a buffer zone along there, that is geopolitically fantastic for the relationship between Belarus and Russia.
I mean, I kind of think that's how it's going to be. You know, whatever.
I think it has to be
more than anything, because at the end of the day, the thing that really founds any of the idea of Ukraine is the same thing that founded Russia, right? The Kievan Rus, right? I mean, Kiev was one of the prime cities out of the 8 or 9 big cities that were around there, were part of the Rus, and Kiev was the first among them. So it's central to the Russian identity in a way that the rest isn't. And so it's very important, I think, for Russia to control Ukraine, which is capitaled in Kiev, right? But whatever is capital in Kiev, I think it's important for Russia to control the Kiev Republic, whatever it is. Okay? Now, the problem I have is if Russia takes over, comes out with a favorable political environment wherein they have a friendly government in Kiev, okay, sitting on the bank of the Dnieper, then in that scenario, we have a problem. We have a big problem with the West. We have a big problem with Lviv. Okay, because now all of a sudden you have a little Donbass in mirror in the West with Lviv. And you're going to have little green men, little blue trannies coming across. And it'll be a big fucking problem. All right.
Well, that's where I think Vaughan's right. I think what Vaughan said will happen then, where the Polish will just move in to keep the peace, and then they'll just never leave. And I think that at that point, what will happen is the people of that region will be given a fair choice. It's like, do you want to become part of Poland and thereby join the EU and be able to travel the West freely, which is what everybody there wants? Or alternatively, do you want to be an independent Ukraine and be occupied by Poland and basically be on life support with no real industry and arguing with Poland? And that could carry on for a long period of time. But I believe the people would vote to actually just become part of Poland so that they get their EU benefits, right? And I think Russia could live with that. Russia could live with Poland taking Lvov and the surrounding region, as long as Russia and Belarus get the Dnieper.
Mm-hmm.
And
I kind of always feel this way too. I kind of feel like the realistic border is Russia gets everything east of the Dnieper, all the way up Chernihiv, Kharkiv, all that. I don't know how that's going to play out, how that's going to happen unless they drag it out. But I just feel like they have to have that.
I think
it's
more likely.
And then they have to have Kiev, and then they need to get probably a strip along the Belarusian-Ukraine border that encompasses Chernobyl and and just really squash that territory down and give everybody the buffer they want. 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, whatever the hell you need to do to keep people the fuck away from your border. And then, make we got a DMZ.
And so you're saying that the western side of that border is going to be Western aligned. It's going to be under NATO control.
I mean, I kind of feel like for a while it's going to be kind of chaotic.
Well, there's 2 different borders that we have. There's 2 different borders you have to talk about, right? The border between Russia and the West in terms of their spheres of influence, and the borders between Russia and whatever state is on the other side of the Russian Federation's state borders. I think the most likely outcome is that the Ukraine, which exists today, which as a state was inaugurated in '91, as a successor to the Ukrainian SSR and so on, that Ukraine is going to continue and it's going to carry on, but it's going to cede, right, the 4 oblasts to Russia, and it's going to cede the 3 oblasts in the west to Poland, but it will continue on as a sort of Belarus, right? It'll be under the Russian sphere of influence. Otherwise, what are you proposing? Are you proposing that Russia annexes the entire territory and then cedes 3 or 4 provinces in the west to the Poles? Or are you suggesting that a Ukraine continues as an independent state under Russian auspices?
I think democracy is incredibly important. And so I think that the Russians and NATO should both engineer democratic referenda to get what they want.
I'm asking, well, what do they want, Toby? What are you saying that they want? Do you think that Russia is going to annex the entire country?
I don't think they're going to take Lvov.
Well, do you think they're going to annex the other 15 oblasts? Or do you think they're only going to annex the 4 oblasts?
that's a nasty, harsh word, annex. I'm talking about having a democratic referendum respecting the will of the people.
Right. In order to do what? In order to continue the
In
state
order
on
to
as it
annex the
is?
thing.
In order to annex. Okay, so to annex, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
but like,
whatever.
you
If
know,
you want to do
let's
it, I don't care if you use a
not,
referendum. That's
let's not
fine.
be like Wayne. You know, we can talk. We can
Well,
talk
okay. Look,
nicely
so
about it.
fair. So you annex the thing, right? One way or the other.
Democratically, with
Yeah,
democracy.
but you think that's the
Democracy is
most likely
shit out.
scenario?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure. Everyone's going to make it look like democracy, and it would be so easy as
to
well.
join the Russian Federation, all of these central Ukrainian provinces were. I think that's very
Absolutely.
unlikely. I don't think the Russians want that. They don't want to take.
I could see more like what you're saying, like a Belarus situation. I just don't know how long it would take to get to that because I just assume the Russians would probably be game for that, having like a little Belarus puppet state. The problem
haven't
is
seen that in Donbass.
Hold up. The thing I see is the problem is how many governments are they going to have to cycle through before they get the guy that they want to do that? You know, like Lukashenko. I mean, I kind of think that would be the ideal way to settle it too, but I just
Well,
don't know how
you find your
you
Lukashenko
got
during
so
the
many
war,
fucking idiots
and
in
you
the West, and
you
then
know
you
you
got to
bring
worry.
them.
Well, I'm just saying you got to worry about the EU meddling and NATO meddling and the U.S. You know what I mean? I'm just saying how that would probably work out the best. But where's their Lukashenko?
So now we're saying the win condition for Russia is this incredibly maximalist position where they annex
No, I'm just going by
85% of
what you're
Ukraine.
saying is, I mean, if they want
Yeah,
to have
well, of
a
course.
working Belarus like they got with the real Belarus, then they've got to find a Lukashenko, and I mean, that's going to take some time to sort out.
Archimedes, you're such an imperialist pig, man. It's like this in the Soviet Union they had the whole thing, and you're talking about like a maximalist win condition that they only end up with 85%. That's like losing 15% to the hated Polish. You see, you're counting your chickens and so forth when you've only got eggs. You already think Zelensky's won. In your mind, the West gets everything. It's disgusting. No, I listen. If they were going to create a new Ukraine, we would have seen it in the Donbass already, Donetsk and Lugansk, and you know, there is Anna and Kherson. They'd all be united under some flag of southern Ukraine or whatever. But instead, what we've seen is that each one is independently joining the Russian Federation as its own state. Like, and I've noticed that's been really conspicuous. And I think that's very deliberate. I don't think that, you know, the Russian imperialists, God bless them, are all that enthusiastic about Belarus as a concept, or Ukraine, or Kazakhstan, or any of the other nations that arose as part of the, you know, dissolution of the Russian Empire after the First World War. And so I think that what they would much rather is to have independent republics, small, join a huge union. What have they got, 90 different republics or something in Russia? That's the system they know. That's the system that works for them. I think they'll continue to do that. I don't think we're going to see like a surviving Ukrainian state within the Russian Federation. I think
that's fine too, Toby. But I mean, either way, I mean, yours or Archimedes' vision. I mean, I see the biggest problem is finding the Lukashenkos to make those happen consistently, and guys that are going to stand up and be there long enough to get this project off the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be, it's not going to be just the 4 oblasts. It's going to be what, like 8 to 12 oblasts probably. So
right.
you got to find.
You're talking about Prigozhin.
No, but I mean, think about it. You got to find 8 to 12 guys. You got to vet these guys. You got to put them in and see how it goes.
Yeah, it's doable.
We needed Prigozhin. Prigozhin is off the board, Vaughn.
They just need to find the people.
Look,
no,
Belarus did
Prigozhin
it.
is off the board, Vaughn. I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to say that Prigozhin would have been the man. He's off the board. You've got to let it go.
He would have. Well, you never know. Maybe he's waiting for this to settle out, and when he's going to run for president of Ukraine.
In Namibia.
Remember, he said he was going to be the president of Ukraine, or whatever the fuck he was saying.
Yeah,
maybe
this is where this is all coming from.
Prigozhin did give a pretty prescient, timeline back when the Battle of Bakhmut was raging.
Yeah, I think he gave it to 26. Like what?
He said that the Donbass would be taken in 3 years from that point, which is, January 23. He's talking January 26 is when that'll be when the battles of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk will start, I think is what he said. and then it'll take another 3 years to take Kramatorsk and Soviets. I think I'm getting my numbers wrong, but it was incredibly prescient, and his wisdom lives with us like Nostradamus. R.I.P. Prigozhin.
Do you want to say some words for Priggy? Go on. No words.
His reputation precedes him.
Post dates him as well, but yeah. No, I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah.
What?
I have some good news. I finally able to change the open mic channel, the new open mic channels, the handle to DPA Open Mic. Previously, I wasn't able to change because it was stuck to the old channel. So I changed the old channel to DPA Open Mic Archived, and then the new one has DPA Open Mic New. So now I managed to change it to just DPA Open Mic. So I get back the handle. So anyway, for those that are subscribing over to the new channel, you need 5 minutes as a new subscriber before you can chat in the chat. Yeah, Fightback was asking. Yeah, sorry. just some news, just some admin news. It's a pain to do this migration.
Yeah. Well, I think the open mic is it's a lot like Evgeny Prigozhin, who died in that helicopter or that plane. It was hit by a missile, by YouTube, and we crashed. But we live on in the woods, scrabbling and scrounging, performing surgery on ourselves, becoming more beast than man. But eventually we'll return right on time, crawling through the irradiated wastes of Chernobyl to arrive in Kiev at the very moment of decision and crown himself, as the new viceroy of Kiev.
Imagine how insane that will be. When Zelensky was taken out or something, then they need a new Ukraine president, and Prigozhin just appeared. And he didn't die. You'll be like global news, man. You'll be like global news.
And he's just fucking jacked, like he's just been working out for 8 years,
Then then you know what? Then after that, he slimmed down, right? Then he got a 6-pack and everything, and then after that, then a few months after he sorted out all the shit, he'll be welcomed, just like the new Syrian president. Like the former terrorist is now again welcome to the White House, and then shake the hand of Donald Trump. It was like,
I don't know why we can't have this, because AI should be able to generate a digital Prigozhin, and that's all we need, right? We don't actually need a flesh and blood dude. We just need the idea of the man, the great man, and we need a digital presence and sports drinks and T-shirts and merch.
Let's do a hologram.
I think that must be the reason.
Hologram.
I think that must be the reason.
Onto your phone, he'll talk to you and stuff and give you good advice.
It must be the reason that Russia is taking so long to win this war, right? They're just waiting for the AI tech to catch up to the point where they can produce
I'm disappointed
AI
that they don't have it.
Prigozhin.
They should be able to
give it
do that.
5 years.
They're going to be
We'll
a superpower. They should be able to do that shit. I'm sure Trump could do that. Trump's probably already got an AI Prigozhin, and maybe he could negotiate with that. But yeah, I feel like Russia should have, definitely a digital Prigozhin. Why not? It's not like you need the real flesh and blood.
Why? It'd be funny if you started a fucking DPAI open mic channel and saw if it did better than this. Because it might. The way that the internet is fucking developing these days, it's just a fucking tragedy, isn't it? I mean, this AI stuff is absolutely just eating the internet alive, and honestly, it kind of makes me happy because it's making me want to, touch grass a little bit more, or
it'd be funny too. Like if it made if it made images of the actual panelists, they would all be like a blend of. It's like that kind of looks like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. That guy kind of looks like Joe Rogan and Michael Noel. It'll be some stupid shit like that. You'll be able to pick. Is that Tucker Carlson mixed with Candace Owens?
Well,
You know,
this was the plot of Fahrenheit 451. Literally, right? Is basically you have these auto-generated, families that you watch on your little sitcoms and on your walls, right? Yeah. What's the super chat? Anyone knows what happened to General Surovikin? He's still around, right? He just got demoted.
I think he's still in Africa, I guess, if I'm not
He's
wrong.
in Africa. They
Yeah,
sent his
he's
ass
heading
on a
the
mission to
Africa call, I
Africa.
think. I think he's
Man,
heading the African call.
he
But
really fucked up then for them to send him on the fucking Africa course.
he killed Prigozhin, and then he took Prigozhin's place in
I guess
Africa.
so.
I heard from history legend. So he visited Morocco like months ago. I think it's Morocco. Yeah. I think it's Morocco. Then after that he told me that he saw like Russian convoy like those Wagner type mercenary type, but Russians. So I think it's Morocco or some some North African countries, and then he's like
He saw Prigozhin.
He's fascinated. Yeah, I
He
don't
didn't
know, I
say
don't
that. He
think-
just hinted that.
Did he say? I don't think so. No, but yeah,
We could put it out there. that he
because
did.
everybody, but all the guys was like, looking at his girlfriend, because history legend's girlfriend is very pretty. so as the convoy go past, everybody was like, probably whistling at her or something. So that was interesting.
The horrible patriarchy at it again. If you
But-
this doesn't happen in the UK. They have female police officers there who spend their tax dollars going on runs through the park in revealing clothing in order to honeypot men into leering at them and making and whistling at them so they can arrest them because it's illegal to do such things in the UK.
What was it? That little girl
what a
who went to
fucking
her
country,
house? Because some little girl, I guess, looked at a fucking tweet or something that was offensive. So these two cops show up to her house to take the phone. And the girl
Yeah.
was like retarded too. It's like, yeah, fuck her up some more, She's already retarded. She probably doesn't even know she looked at something fucked up and you're gonna take her phone. Fucking dicks.
I think it's easy to misunderstand the British. When you're as close to perfection as that nation currently is, the little things that you have to improve to, a lot of people don't understand them.
Well, there's only one country
Like,
in
they
this
don't
world
have
better.
tax dollars, Archimedes. They have pounds, for goodness sake.
Oh, tax pounds.
You're so American centric, man. It's like, show some respect to Europe.
Look, dude, the dollar is a generic term, bro. You know what I mean? Like, dollar means money. Think about it.
It's Spanish,
Think
isn't
about
it?
it. Well, yeah, exactly,
Dollar
bro.
reduce.
Exactly. It goes back to the Spanish dollar, right? The
Yeah,
silver
the
dollar.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, the dollar do is that what you have in Australia? That's amazing.
No, that's the original in Castile.
The dollar do?
Yeah. Tell people.
I don't believe you.
Come on.
You're weaving it out of whole cloth.
No, it could
Telling a tall
totally
tale.
be true.
The
It's really
dollar
hard
do.
to tell how people used to pronounce old words.
That doesn't even sound Spanish.
Maybe we should ask Willie OAM. You would know.
We should ask Willie GPT, bro. They're gonna replace us all with AI. The
I'm going to
Chat GPT, the great, powerful, and terrible, man.
I
I was wondering. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I was gonna fly my drone today during the No Kings protest, but I went up on the roof to launch, and I kept hearing the telltale sounds of a drone, and I'm looking around, and I finally spotted the cop's big ass drone, basically flying exactly where I was gonna fly to go watch this shit. And so I was like, well, I guess I ain't going up. I don't know what kind it was. It was a quad, but it was pretty fucking nice. It looked like it probably had a nice camera and a thermal. And that motherfucker just sat there for like an hour and hovered and never moved, just watching this one area where they were protesting until they started moving, and then it moved. But there was a helicopter flying around too, so I was like, I guess I'm not flying today.
Yep.
But yeah,
Absolutely no violence from the lefties whatsoever.
I saw a few
Absolutely
shady
no
people in
signs
the
of life.
crowd, but
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think anything happened. Unless something happens tonight, but if it does, we'll hear about it in the morning. It won't matter.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen, dude. The left is so old, man. The left
No,
is
I'm
made
just
out of
saying there
old
was
people.
some people mixed in, but like, you know, it was from like 2 to 5, and like at 5:15, I mean, they were just streaming out of there back to their cars. All these
Yep.
old people with walkers and shit. There was even some fucking Stephen Hawking fuck with a "No King" sign in his mouth. It was fucking crazy. There was a guy that was holding a giant sign up saying he was a proud autistic.
Super chat by Tech Dub. Europe deserves no respect.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the StreamYard now can do sound effects, so you know I can like do like
Amazing.
Where is Europe?
So like when you see Ashton Cirilla, or no, Sarah Ashton, make the little boing noise for Wayne.
boing.
Should we talk about Lambo while it's not here?
No.
How's he getting along? I haven't seen Lambo.
SU-35, SU-35, SU-35. Maybe he'll appear.
You should send your drone to take down the police drone, man. Let them train,
You know what?
modern
It's funny,
air-to-air drone
it's
combat.
funny you say that, because I actually thought, you know, I could fly up there and knock him out. But then I was like, but then I lose my drone, so no.
So what is the most
I
effective?
turn it on my remote control, and I'm like, what if I turn on my remote and I can start fucking with it because I'm right next to it, and they're off somewhere else? I would assume they have a closed connection to it since it's law enforcement. But I was like, nah, I'm not, because he was like hovering almost right above me, and I zoomed up, so I know he wasn't looking at me. But I was like, he might not be too cool if all of a sudden there's another drone up there. Hey, buddy, what's up? I'm your little brother. Get the fuck out of here. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be friendly because it's like kind of restricted airspace. So no.
Then you're gonna have police knock down your doors, no? They would like smash down your doors. And, police!
Yeah, exactly. There'd be some
It would
guys
make sense
fast
to
roping.
capture them. It would make sense to have like a way like to shoot a net at them to capture the police drones and then bring them home.
No, because they got a GPS tracker on them, so they'll find you. That's a
Well,
pretty
what you should do,
specific piece of
Vaughn,
equipment.
realistically, is strap a fishing rod to your drone, and then dangle on the end of the fishing rod a donut, you know, and then take your drone, fly it above the police drone, and dangle the fishing rod with the donut in front of the police drone.
That would be funny as hell. I wonder what they'd do. Maybe they'd let me go because it was so funny. That's the best.
Well, you'd have to give them the donut, you know, maybe buy an.
Fly over there and drop it
Then
off.
you'd be alright. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll tell you what. Mess with that drone though. It's like that shit's crazy. And I mean, if you're trying to kill people with it and going on one-way trips, I mean, the
I
drone
wonder
is
how long.
definitely the delivery system of the present and future.
Yeah, I wonder how
Oh, yeah.
long they're going to remain legal to own them
Yeah.
because they're basically like the handguns of the modern age.
It's kind of true. That's kind of a crazy way to look at it, but it's kind of true.
I mean, right now in the States, they're trying to scare a lot of people saying that DJI is going to get banned and all this shit, which may or may they're going through some kind of audit. And
Well,
I guess
that's just because they're Chinese, right? I mean, there's still going to be.
They're trying to time.
There's still going to be ways to get drones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
well, there's still going to be ways to get drones. If,
Well, they even
But there's
said
just
that-
no good
Like an-
alternative, right? DJI is still the best drone.
Oh
out there,
yeah.
so
I mean, hands down, it's the fucking best. I mean, anybody that copies them, I mean, it's the same price pretty much. So you might as well just buy the DJI and get the guarantee and the name.
yeah, but you will have copies, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you know,
like
it's not like you're gonna. I mean, it's like with Russia and you know getting cut off from various Western suppliers. You know, you can get copies of these things. You can get substitutes. You know, you're gonna have some hidden quality, but you know, you're not gonna lose the entire supply if there's a cutoff. You know.
Yeah, and like with this DJI thing, they're saying even if they end up banning them because of the Chinese thing, if you have them already, you can still use them. And if you think about how many drones are from DJI are sitting in Amazon warehouses, even if they banned them tomorrow, you could probably still buy them for the next 3 years, grandfathered in. So
I think it's going to be like the advent of the handgun. Like I was reading about the Italian king who was in power in World War II, Emmanuel. He ended up turning against Mussolini, and then the Germans moved in. But anyway, his father was assassinated in 1900, the same year that McKinley was. And they were both assassinated the same way, which is just some random... They call them anarchists now. Wikipedia has kind of whitewashed it. They used to be called communists or proto-communists because that's what those groups became. But now we're calling them anarchists. So the anarchists around that period between 1890 and 1900... Yeah, well, anarchists, because we don't want to offend anyone. They assassinated loads of leaders worldwide using handguns, and it was called propaganda by action, right? And it was this idea that like you carried out your propaganda by doing these targeted assassinations, and it happened a lot, right? Like it really shaped the 20th century. And gun control, like there had been no such thing because, like, you know, what are guns? A gun was like a musket weapon that an infantry soldier used in a field of battle, and it took, you know, a minute to load, trained and everything. And all of a sudden, these handguns came along, and they allowed this propaganda by action. And like I see that a parallel with the drone as a delivery mechanism of ordnance in a civilian landscape, especially if we start having delivery drones and the rest of it. Like that's got a new world, and I think it's just begging for regulation. Like it's going to be regulated. I think within 10 years it'll be illegal to have one.
Well, one thing I did figure out too, like from watching some of the videos from Ukraine, I've got a DJI RC with the built-in screen, and one of the videos I was watching, the guy had the exact same screen setup, and I figured out that like when I'm flying, I'm looking at I'm usually connected anywhere to 15 to 27 satellites for the GPS or whatever. Those and those guys are flying their drones free flight with no satellite connection. So that might be another reason why some of them seem wonky and stuff on the way in and stuff, because whereas I'm flying with 27 GPS satellites, giving me exact position and all that shit, they're basically free flying these things, kilometers and kilometers by sight to hit these targets.
Wow.
So that's pretty impressive because, I could fly mine if I wanted to, but there's no way in hell I'd trust myself to do that because there's just too much lag in that to where, if you were trained or experienced enough, you probably would lose lots of drones. Whereas these guys
you've also got a crate full of them, you know what I mean? Which in that context, which you don't have. Right?
They're one way in it too, so they do have that. Whereas, like, I don't want to wreck my drone, so I'm not trying to do that. But if they're a little sloppy flying in, it don't matter as long as they hit the target. It's a one-way trip. But I was kind of impressed by that because he's talking about these guys free flying with no satellite GPS, potentially miles to hit targets just by sight through the FPV goggles and stuff. So I was like, damn. But my point was, it's kind of like guns, like me, I'm a legally registered gun. The guy flying with no satellites free is not. He's illegal. He kind of ties the same way you're talking about the new handgun. There's the legal guns and then the illegal ones. There'll be the legal drones and the illegal ones. And when I was doing all my research, if you got a mechanical inclination, I guess, and a little electrical skill, you could buy all the kits you want and build Baba Yaga type drones or quadcopters or little DJI looking things, whatever you want. They got the arms, the blades, the rotors, the motors, whatever you want, they got it. So it's, you could pick. It didn't come with the motors or anything. It was just the frame and the basic body. But you can get a Baba Yaga kit for $339, and then you just put the motors and blades and your electronics on it. But so
the other part of the equation is networks. I think there's going to be like a big change in the way networks are distributed around the world in the next 10 years. Just because in Australia now you have an Anglo government that's trying its very best to control the internet in all kinds of different ways. But at the same time, Elon Musk's Satlink is available for cheaper and cheaper money. Yeah, right. Yeah. And so you can now, I've heard people discussing it even in my rural town. It's like, it's just economics. You can now get better performance from Starlink at a better price. And
Well,
so why does the government's taking steps to control the terrestrial network? There's going to be no economic incentive to use it anyway. And so how do governments stop, American freedom via the technocracy of Elon Musk and people like him who start distributing satellite networks? Because China can do the same thing eventually, right? Anyone who puts up like a free network is going to be competing with, client state governments like Australia for influence. Right? So I think, network access is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible to imagine the possibilities of full satellite internet. It's one of those technologies which, we've had satellite internet for a long time for people in fucking boats, to send emails, right? But it's not been proper internet. Starlink has kind of changed that. It's actually kind of useful. Internet. There are other products. It's it's not. There's quite a few constellations actually, and there's plans for more. But the thing about it, right, is that the closer you get in your orbit to the Earth, the more satellites you need in order to cover the Earth, right? If you're way far out at geostationary or something, you can almost where GPS satellites are, they can more or less transmit data to 1/3 of the Earth or something like that, and so you technically don't need that many, maybe 6 or whatever. There's some geometry involved. But if the closer you get, the more satellites you need. Your costs of number of satellites that you need to go into space goes up exponentially. So launch cost becomes incredibly important if you want to have satellites that are close to Earth. And satellites being close to Earth is super fucking important because that is what gets you low ping, right? You can put 100,000 satellites. Ultimately you need low ping in order to. It's not just throughput, right? That defines the internet connection. It's also the latency, right? So, the new Starlinks are going to be going up. Starlink V3, they're going to be going up soon. They're much larger. They're going to be going up in a lower orbit as well. Each one is supposed to be able to transmit 1 terabyte per second, I believe, of capacity, and which, if you think about it, is enough for 1,000 gigabit connections, or let's say 100,000 10 Mbps connections, which is still it's decent enough for day-to-day use. And that's one satellite. 60 of these are supposed to go up on one Starship launch. If Starship works out. Now there was a Starship test just the other day that went very, very well. And if we see Starship flying in the next couple of years, what you're going to see is the first ever fully reusable orbital vehicle, right? Technically, the space shuttle wasn't fully reusable, and it was certainly not optimized anywhere near the level of Starship for reuse. So you could see full spectrum dominance by SpaceX in the entire field of launch, as well as the entire field of the internet. This is one of the most powerful business combinations you can have, is to be your own customer, is to have vertical integration, and for a launch company. Look, SpaceX already does more launches than the entire nation of China. They do more launches than the entire rest of the United States, including NASA and DoD, and including NASA launches for all the other launch providers, and DoD launches for all the other launch providers in the United States. SpaceX is the absolute majority, absolute king. And that's before they have this incredibly ambitious, reusable rocket, which really theoretically could work. It's going to give Elon Musk specifically full spectrum dominance over the satellite internet, the best satellite internet available.
Yeah, but Archimedes, what's giving him dominance here is a lack of competition. Warren Buffett always says that, the best kind of competition to have is none. Warren Buffett really likes buying technology that is like really innovative, which means no one else is doing it, because you have a very easy time at the market. And it's a pity Drew's not here and all these cheerleaders for the CCCP, because where is their Elon Musk? Where is their satellite distribution network? Where is their reusable rocket program? Because I totally agree with you, Archimedes. I think this is the biggest thing on the geopolitical radar, just because internet dominance and being able to project, for want of a better word, free networks. Let's just call them American. Someone can have an eagle screeching right now. But like, if Elon is pushing X and everything else, and Trump and the new Trump politics into the world, and like, there's just no way to stop it, right? This is what's so interesting about it. It's like the radio. You can't
Yep.
actually stop people getting their internet from the satellite. And at that
Yep.
point, a lot of, really
Yeah, you
questionable
physically
people.
can't. That's the thing. You physically can't, right? All you need is a satellite receiver. Like
Yeah,
physical
it's
control of that is very, very hard. Yeah, the way you
so
can with terrestrial internet.
to me,
Yeah.
yeah, to me, if you're going to talk about bricks, and I know some people are going to talk about bricks, and we have to put up with it, but like, I'm like, show me your Elon. Where can I get bricks TV? Show me your bricks internet connection. It better be $20
there could
and
be
come with a drink holder, because otherwise I'm going with Elon.
Well, you can imagine a world where the Chinese just launch 20 times more rockets, in order to put up a constellation. It's hypothetically possible. But yeah, it's a little bit hard to imagine. I mean, launch is fucking difficult. It's very expensive.
Wouldn't someone
right?
steal the rocket?
What do you mean steal the
You know what I
rocket?
mean? Well, you've seen communist countries. It's like something
Look,
would
I
go
mean,
wrong.
China does do a lot of launches. Okay, like I don't think that it's worth doing the sort of caricature of, oh well, it's just it's never gonna, China's just not going to be able to successfully do anything because of communism or whatever. Clearly, that's not the case. They've been very successful.
Do you guys see the
Where's
news
the European one?
for the China one?
The Europeans do have a
Well,
GPS system, by the way. They put their own GPS system up. The Chinese have their own GPS system. I mean, that's a lot less of an ask than an internet constellation. And the reason I mentioned the distance that you need to put it in is because that it takes so many more launches in order to get that lower ping. There's going to be this enormous competitive advantage of low latency internet. Although I suppose I don't know how much of an advantage that really is. So in terms of competition, there is going to be competition for Starlink eventually. I think the Chinese are certainly going to do their best to put up a constellation.
I don't see it is the thing, and I find that interesting.
You don't see them putting up a constellation?
I've gone down the GPS rabbit hole. I know a little bit about the different space agencies of the different regions of the world. And the thing about Starlink and Elon Musk is they didn't ask permission. They didn't wait for government to come along with a program. They were doing stuff because they wanted to do it and they thought they could make money doing it. And they saw a huge amount of money on the Pentagon table and they went for it and they got it too.
Yeah,
now, and this is the thing. This is the thing about Europe, right? Europe has got 1 million projects, all sponsored by the EU and the taxpayer, but they're private because they're owned by aristocrats. There's not the same thing. There's no Elon Musk in Europe who's got a product that he's developing anyway because he's going to make a lot of money. And the reason is because the European economy, it's all spoken for. It's like you have to be a viceroy or a duke. So this is why, and in communist societies as well, not to make too light of it, but communist society is very centralized. They're very planned. The economy is very planned out. Likewise, you have no room for some freak like Musk taking ketamine and inventing shit. So that's where I see, America is once again moving forward because of the power of its marketplace rather than the power of its politics or intellect. Which has been, to me, the story of...
Could it be too, though? I mean, if you think about it, in China and Russia, you probably would go to prison for a long time if you took ketamine and worked for Roscosmos or something like that. I'm just saying, I mean...
If you're a bad viceroy, you'll
not that the drugs make them the genius they are. I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know if those two countries would... If the culture's there to allow that kind of person to exist. That free thinking and freewheeling.
Maybe China will inject Jack Ma full of ketamine to see what happens.
Elon Ma.
They already got their own Zhong Xena.
I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
have you guys
that dumbass wrestler John Cena. He like
Bing Chilling?
apologized for calling Taiwan a country, and now they call him
Bro, he did.
Jones. They
Well,
call him Jones. Yeah, they call
he
him
did that
Jones
famous.
Cena with an
He did
S.
that. He did that famous fucking video, man, where he was promoting his new movie in China, and he basically said, he was holding this ice cream cone, and he said in Chinese like, "Oh, I really like ice cream, but you know what I like better than ice cream is watching this new movie that's coming out." Anyway, it became a meme, and ice cream sounds like Bing Chilling. Yeah,
Yeah, Bing Chilling is ice cream.
John Cena, and you've got Have you guys seen that guy that does the Donald Trump impersonations? The Chinese guy goes around to these Chinese places,
Yes.
and he's
His
fantastic. He's
impression
great.
is really good.
Yeah.
The best ever.
Oh, look at these.
But he really sounds like Donald Trump. Oh my god.
He's got a good
Did
one.
you see the one where he was at some like golden Chinese temple, and he's like, "They have a golden house. We need to replace the old White House with a golden house." And even that one jackass that does the commercials for the lighted signs. He does a good Trump every now and then.
Oh yeah.
They're
That guy's funny.
I love those because it's like my pronouns are blah blah blah. He's like, fuck off. Now if you want a good sign,
Viral marketing, man. It really works actually. It's kind of sad, but again, this is another element of the market. I mean, what is this market really taking us to? Toby, like, I kind of have this Landian fear of the future of the capitalist system. Like, we're going towards this, this AI capitalism, where it's just dominating our fucking brains, dominating the airwaves, dominating everything. We our thinking and our feelings. I mean,
yeah, but
scary,
you're
man.
using. You're getting excited and using the word "we" a lot, but what you're talking about, again, this is the Wayne thing, the fall of man, the destruction of the individual due to depredations and all kinds of sin. And that's going to happen. It's like there's so many wicked folk out there in Kentucky and in Singapore and in other places. They are going to do diabolical shit, and they're going to get their just rewards for it. And the digital world is not any protection against that. I don't think America is a system as such. It's almost like the power that arises because of a lack of a system. I mean, this is the thing about markets, right? Like, markets exist even in no man's land.
Yeah,
markets is just people trading, and they'll do that even when they're at war. And so markets is the default state of the environment when you don't have some academic or a duke or a viceroy even, right? Like making a system and trying to enforce it. And I think that you're always going to have a bit of that natural world, that black market in the background, even if you do have a really competent viceroy. But I think America is such an interesting place because the people that settled it understood how well they were doing with basic freedoms and without an overriding system, and then tried to enshrine that, tried to almost have a system of no system. And so that the market can breathe. Because this is the interesting thing about the market, right? Like, no one sees it coming. No one saw the iPhone coming. People thought Steve Jobs was a douche, and possibly he was, right? But he had a vision for seeking out what the market wanted. Elon's got the same kind of thing. Plus, they're just curious people. But it's a very chaotic thing. You don't know where they're going to come from. You get really unlikely individuals making a big impact. And I think it's really outside of academic control, and the viceroys don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's interesting to see.
I think it's also fair to say that the story of wealth inequality in America is very real, but I think that people are very Marvel superhero brained, and they think of it in terms of billionaires and the uber ultra billionaires as the problem. But if you look at wealth inequality, it is truly a massive issue, right, on any objective metric. But if you take the wealth of all the billionaires in the United States, it's really not that much. Okay, really, you got to look at everybody that at the decamillionaires, at the hectamillionaires, right? That's where you get huge amounts.
I have
wealth,
issues.
right?
I have issues with this happy term wealth inequality because, like, you've got to have a full stomach to worry about wealth inequality, right?
Yeah, no, I get that, but it's also
they're starving. There's not having. There's empty shelves and shit.
I'm good.
Yeah, and then there's living in a very plentiful, just society where you don't have to fight for your life and for every scrap of food every
Yeah,
morning.
but you see, when you have a situation where the overall pie is getting smaller, which is what is happening due to, various really bad trends that have been happening, including demographic and others, and just a general world sort of regression in the world economy that seems inevitable. Um, as the pie gets smaller, what you're seeing is society dividing more and more into the haves and the have-nots. And people's lives are getting worse. Like the real income, the real quality of life that people have in the United States is lower. Now than it was before, right? Especially when it comes to having being able to afford houses. What percentage of people are able to or have uh, people have more stuff than house. This is a really systematic economic problem. And we can get into it more. This, I'll just say, is one of the reasons I'm so happy about Trump is because with this tariff thing, he's bringing in a real spanner in the works of this system, which is systematically impoverishing Americans and probably 60, 70, 80% of Americans for the benefit of the 20%. And I'll say I don't think that my analysis of this is coming from pure resentment. I think I'd be in that 20%. But it's it is a bad system, man. People are really not able to pay rent. Rents are fucking crazy, right? And that's not an accident. It's not an
I
accident that
don't,
the that
Archimedes. I
gold is,
don't
is
think
as high as it is. That the currency has been so debased that the
here's
equity markets
Archimedes.
are going up so much. And yet
Here's the
wages.
thing,
Uh, go
Archimedes.
on.
I have a question for you. Right? Is it a bad system or is it a system? Is it the
Okay.
system? Because this is my point about the free market and the chaotic nature of uncontrolled America that's actually out of control. So people like Donald Trump are just like riding a worm. I think if you believe there's such a thing as a good system like Singapore, where everything is controlled by the secret police and it all works out and everyone's really happy, then that's you believe in then a good system. Or if you're like Drew and you believe the CCCP is like the thing, right? That then you believe in a good system. Or if you're like Archimedes and you chase this mythical good system, then I understand why you would say the term bad system. But from my
Well,
perspective, when I have a look at there's the uncontrolled world, there's the chaos that is most free in America, and then there's various other plans, other variations of centralized planned economies. You can have privately owned ones like in Europe, or you can have state-owned ones like in China and Vietnam, or you can have something in between. But a planned economy is a planned economy. And there's a lack of personal freedoms in there because that's how you get that, right? And they all seem to have the same thing. They all seem to have wealth inequality outcomes. They all seem to have poverty, right? Because the politics of the people is able to use these mechanisms, these systems, to create hierarchies, which is what people do, right? They do it at high school. And so this is the danger of having a system, is that people will actually use it and they will oppress one another because that's what makes them feel better. It's like, Orwell said, the guy in the union will enforce the class system because it gives him somewhere where he knows who he is. So I think that this is why the chaos of America is such a hard thing to embrace, because it's a little bit fucking terrifying. There is no system. There are no wise folk in control of the lives. You just don't have any viceroys.
I mean, I guess it's true to some extent still, but this is such a Jeffersonian, reading of what America is, and it kind of still is that. To be fair, it is. But you got to also look at least what has happened since Roosevelt and the New Deal, and the expansion of the government during World War II and the creation of all these independent agencies. It was a real large scale transformation of the government. I mean, then we had large scale public works in the 50s, right? Like the highway system and the and so on. I don't have to list it all. I mean, the government has expanded large and has become quite large, actually, in the United States, and this is a real thing. And like you said, people use this system to create hierarchies in themselves. It doesn't make poverty go away. I mean, how much money has gone into the pockets of urbanite, middle-aged women who work on the boards of homeless programs, instead of going into actually solving homelessness, right? In California, for example, right? And I'll give you a statistic. I believe, I think something like 6 of the top 10 wealthiest counties in the United States are in the or possibly zip codes. 6 of the top 10, the wealthiest zip codes in the United States are in the or highest income anyway, are in the DC metro area, right? In the Washington DC metro area, because this is where you have. Now it must be counties actually that I saw the statistic. It wouldn't make sense as zip codes. Regardless, the point is that DC is a huge fountain of money, springing out of the swamp, and it's especially I think with with of course with the management of our central bank, the Federal Reserve. I mean, the money tap, is not necessarily a bad thing to have a central bank, but the question is, who is politicking to get themselves closest to the money tap of the central bank, and to get themselves preferential treatment.
Yeah, but there's a hard logic there. Archimedes, there's a hard logic there, which is that if you're talking about a competition between man-made systems of planned economies and just the wild wilderness of the free market, right? If those are the two forces in the world, fiat money and debt inevitably favors the planned economists, right? Because in the real world, they haven't got any money. They're like Marx, right? And so in the real world, absent debt and easy fiat money, the people who actually have money, who actually take notice of the free market, tend to dominate. But as soon as you've got funny money floating around, as soon as you can just create it out of thin air, so long as you're the government, well, then guess who's going to have most of it? The government. And so then your Marxists and the rest of it can start putting their planned economy into effect, and your viceroys too, for that matter. And so I think that's why central banking, in the end, it inevitably brings you more viceroys because it gives them power. Because that's what central banking is, right? It's essentially taxation. You transfer wealth from people who have it through inflation to people who don't have it anymore, your viceroys and your communists and so on. So I think
you could say taxation is a form of central banking, actually, right?
Yeah, this is one of the strong arguments in favor of a gold-based currency. It's not that gold's intrinsically worth anything or good, but because it's limited, right? It means that you limit the size of planned economies. You limit.
But Toby, you're mixing up the planned economy, the central banking, and the gold-based currency, right? I mean, the Federal Reserve came to be in 1913, right? The United States. You had the planned economy, which really started. You have the Roosevelt Revolution, in the 40s. And you don't get off the gold standard until 71, right? I mean, we're still on the gold standard. And when I say still on the gold standard, that's a bit misleading because the gold standard itself was an innovation, right? I mean, the gold standard is something that replaced, the short-lived system of the greenbacks, if I remember correctly, in the post-Civil War area, where you did have funny money, as you put it. So I don't know. I tend to think that the mechanism of the money is not so important, whatever it is, whether it's gold or whether it's fiat or anything, the money, it matters because it lets people, politic and get closer to the bankers who live lavish lives and so on. But ultimately, it's not really the primary thing. I think it's much more important what the culture of the people are, what the geographic and technological conditions are, and what technologies are prevalent in that society, right? I think that's much more important than looking at money.
But with all due respect, you know enough market theory to know if I can just create $100 million and just buy all the equipment and hire all the people I need to go into business, and I can also bribe politicians to be given like half your licenses, I can go and I can undercut you, I can put you out of business, buy everything you've got in a fire sale, right? A planned economy with a lot of fiat credit will eradicate a free market economy, right? Because a free market economy is on razor-thin margins all the time, and it has no granddaddy to bail it out. All you've got to undo is undercut it by 3 to 5% generally, and you'll destroy it. That capital will move out, and then you can move in. So that the idea that fiat money and that easy credit in the hand of viceroys doesn't massively affect a community is, in my view, that's completely wrong. And it's
why did
that?
So what? This only started in 71,
No, it's been going on since there's been people. Like, this is before coinage or even money. This happened in the world of credit. Viceroys manipulating credit in order to create hierarchies is arguably what people do, right? The exceptional thing is what the American founders did, where they said, you know what, this is what people do, and we're going to limit it in the name of Jesus Christ because we want to live as free Christians instead of under the tyranny of a system, of a viceroy, right? That was kind of the whole point of America. So, yeah, I don't know. To me, having credit, having easy credit and fantasy money, that is the opposite of the one thing. You know, that only leads to one outcome, and it leads to viceroys, Archimedes.
I just struggle to see that that's, you know, given the dates at which we established the Federal Reserve and we went off the gold standard, it just doesn't add up to me as being the primary causal factors of our current degradation, you know?
You're a bad American.
Well, you know, I think there's other more important factors, man. That's all. It's not just about the money, you know. I'm just saying, man, I think money's overrated, you know. Just look, give it all to me. I'll take care of it. I'll take good care of it. Don't worry. But that's all that money creation is, isn't it, Toby? If you're lending, you know, it's simply lending, isn't it? Fractional reserve banking. I mean, as soon as you have that, you're creating money, right? Every bank creates money. I mean, all that a banknote is, all that a dollar you do is simply a it's a little banknote with some fucking bank either.
This is really easy to understand. This is really easy to understand for the two people listening. But this is how I think about it, right? Imagine you have $10, right? And as the banker, you own 9 of them and everyone else has 1. And then you get up to shenanigans, you go out to drink, you know, you do this, you invest in a solar farm. A whole bunch of shit happens, right? Time passes, and now you're the banker and you've only got $1 left because of you're incompetent. And all the other folks around you have now got the other $9, right? And so now you only own 1% of all the money in the society, whereas previously you owned 90% and you were like the viceroy. And now you're just some schmo, named Archimedes or something. So what I'm saying is, if I can create money, I can just go create another $10 dues, give them to myself, and now I own 52% or more, like 55 or whatever it is, right, of the money supply. If I go create 100 units of currency, right, I now own 91 out of 100. I'm back to my 90% cool viceroy position. How? I inflated the money supply and thereby devalued all of the other money that was out there working in the economy and transferred that value to the holder of the new money supply. That's as simple as it is. If I can control that, I don't care what happens to the money, right? Because I can always come along and put myself back in the viceroy position because I control the inflation of the money supply. And so that's the essential geopolitics of having fiat currency and having central banks. It gives unshakable power to those who control the money supply.
Right.
And it's you know, it's arguably not a bad thing, because in the old days when you had war chest economies and people were fighting over gold, you had like perpetual warfare. Whereas when you have this artificial power mechanism through money supply, states actually can be at peace for reasonably long periods of time.
Well, and that's why I said that's why I mentioned that 6 of the 10 richest counties in America are in the DC metros. Because those are the people that are close to the money supply, right? And not just that they're getting paid because they're cushy government jobs. That's also a part of it, but also because those are the people that have the connections that can that can that know what's going to happen with the Federal Reserve. Yeah. Look, I ain't no fortunate son, right?
I ain't no viceroy's nephew.
Hey, me, I know viceroy's son.
I wouldn't be surprised if Vaughan had some Bavarian viceroys in his heritage.
Absolutely. Vaughan's got some Kentuckian viceroys in his future, bro, in his descendants.
Who will be the viceroy of the Ohio River?
Of New Ohio.
What do they call it? Nouveau Ohio.
How about Neo Ohio?
That's
you
better.
Like that double? That double syllable in the middle? Neo Ohio.
It sounds more American, Neo Ohio, than Nouveau.
Neo Ohio.
Are there hills there?
Huh?
In Ohio, yeah, Southern Ohio.
No, in New Ohio. Is that like where
New Ohio? No. We're gonna flatten out all the hills with bulldozers and AI.
Yeah. It'll look like the Ozarks instead of flat.
Man, I can't believe we've been talking about fucking about currency and all this, and we haven't had Yura join. We haven't had fucking
He's
Craig
sleeping,
join.
man.
Oh, Yura is
Yeah,
sleeping.
Craig is actually in the live chat. But
Yeah,
no,
I know.
Euro is sleeping.
Craig's got a fucking crazy theory, which I think was tailor-made in the fucking lab to piss off Toby for the last 2 weeks. That's all he's been doing. He says that America was founded on 3 obsolete technologies. Carnism, that is eating meat, combustion, right, the internal combustion engine, and currency. You might agree with the currency part. But I mean, what a theory, you know? I mean, what a world. Let's just
That
not
just
fucking
sounds
eat.
like words falling out of some dude to me. Like I wouldn't get too
Yeah.
excited about that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, unless Craig want to entertain us by coming on.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'd like to see the sparks fly.
Well, you know, no
Von,
man
Von,
is free
what
of his sin.
Von, what is the eye patch? Is this decoration or something happened to your eyes?
Oh, something happened to my eye. So
Must be the drone, right? The drone cut you.
No. I fucked up my eye, so I didn't want to wear sunglasses, so I went to the Halloween store and got an eye patch. My wife and kids think I look ridiculous, but I told them it's better than wearing sunglasses at night.
If you have to get
No,
a
you look
glass
very cool.
eye,
You
if you
look
have to
super
get a
cool,
glass
you know.
eye, you should get like a really.
I
bright
wore it,
one. Yeah.
I wore it because I was at work at the gas station, so I didn't really want to wear sunglasses all night. So I just put on. I figured people at the store would be like, "Oh, it's close to Halloween. He must be wearing a costume." Or, you know, one lady's like, "Oh, is that eye patch? My husband had eye surgery and he wears an eye patch." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, thanks." But yeah, I mean, I fucked up my eyes, so I just figured I was not freaking anybody out.
Do you see just now the game that I show you? Let me show you again. Because you look totally like this guy right now, Solid Snake.
Yeah, Snake.
I'm not sure. Do you know him? You look exactly like him right now. So you're muted. You're muted.
I was gonna get something, but I was like, no, never mind.
Hey, Vaughn, Halloween's coming up, man. You gotta dress up as Snake, bro. It'll be good.
I'm going to New York with some bricks.
Snake.
With some bricks.
I'm building a wall.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna have to call it a day. I'm going to clean up because it's my Sunday. But yeah, good to see you all. I enjoyed the smaller
man.
format without all the Euro trash and the
Euro trash.
No, well, you
It's
know how
kinda-
you know what they like, Archimedes, the way they talk. You know.
I don't even want to think about it.
It's just it's not what you need, because in the Pacific region, I feel like we're all moving forward. America, Singapore,
Well,
Australia.
you know, the Atlantic Ocean has a ridge inside of it, and it's expanding, and the Pacific is kind of collapsing
Yeah, right.
and becoming smaller and smaller. So one of these days, you know, the Australians
There's
and
more
Americans will be
energy.
neighbors. Yeah, much closer.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Europe, we're moving away from Europe actively, going west onwards.
Of course. I mean,
Yes.
look at it. But yeah, well, take care. And
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
great to see the
Yeah,
civilized
long time no
times
see,
on
right,
Wyatt.
Toby?
Yeah. I've been working, so
This for you, This for you, This timing is for you.
I'm very grateful. And also, congratulations on 100,000, and then commiserations on being struck off on account of Vaughn's shenanigans. That's all right. He didn't mean it.
It was bound to happen. I think once you get into YouTube Shorts, they're gonna kill you on something or other.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're just taking your money.
I mean, it's just kind of weird, though. I mean, the way it goes, because you look at like all the stuff that's popping up on Facebook now and YouTube and the shorts, like with Fuentes or other things of that flavor.
Yeah.
And
And YouTube stepping
Facebook
back.
is like, I've never seen so much racist shit fly back and forth on YouTube or Facebook. But and then but oh no, that logo is bad, but this is okay or that's okay. I mean, I get what you say though. It's like you can't figure out the algorithm. You might as well just pull your hair out, try to figure
You
out.
don't
What,
understand. Mark Zuckerberg went to the gym.
yeah,
That changes everything, because he went to
Yeah.
the gym.
Well, look, it's a new start.
Testosterone changed him.
It's a new start for OM, right? Might as well be optimistic. It's kind of like the old days, actually, like the early OM days with fewer people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to hear Braun tell me about Fuentes.
Why
Yeah,
is
go on.
Nick Fuentes so prominent?
I don't know, right? It's a
He's-
thing
he's
now,
a
and Braun
crazy
knows
guy,
all about it.
I mean,
so I'm going to
just-
sign
I
out,
like-
but I'm
I
going
like-
to keep
I like what he
listening.
says because he's right about a lot of things, but that's just like anybody else that's halfway smart. They can state right policies and good policies. I just enjoy his presentation and the way. I just think he's going to make this next election cycle really fucking exciting because he's really putting the fucking fire to people.
Yeah.
He's getting other people in there, and whether it goes anywhere or not, it's just going to be entertaining to watch him
Yeah.
and Tucker and Candace and all them try to go at each other and try to defend politicians and shitty policies. And I mean, he's a consistent dude, so I'll give him that. I mean, he's consistent. He's not, bouncing around like a lot of these people. Like, when he calls out Tucker Carlson, I mean, he's got the receipts on Tucker. He's got the receipts on Candace Owens. I mean, it's not like he's got devastating stuff, but, he can make his points and, make his case
Yeah.
about why
Fuentes
he's
is-
a more legitimate representation of young, disaffected men than any of those people ever could hope to be.
Fuentes' success is a symptom of a larger shift in the right, which is that the right has, for a long time, it actively had as its first priority distancing itself from its extremists or its activists, and always trying to present itself as basically the left, but 20 years later, right? At least on cultural issues, right? Now, and that's how it's been for quite a long time. But whereas on the left, they have actually, supported some of their. Well, they have a different method of dealing with their activists in the left. That's another story. But on the right, that's changed. That the right has started to shift its focus away from prioritizing distancing itself from its extremists, saying, "Oh, I don't want to be like that guy. He's too far right," as the first priority of being on the right. And rather, that's a second, a third, a fourth priority. The first priority is actually, attacking those who are to the left of you. That's a general shift that I've observed. In terms of the willingness of people to do that.
Like all those people I mentioned, they're all good people to one degree or another. They all support some good policies. I don't agree with everything, but it is good to have all these people fight out and flesh these ideas out and get some things figured out, because
bring it into the open window, right?
Yeah, Israel's going to be a big thing. A lot of the wars, the foreign policy, a lot of other stuff, and he's bringing it up. Other people are bringing it up, and and they're calling out, people like Candace Owens and Matt Walsh and stuff who claim to be, for the everyman and, down with the struggle. And he's like, well, then why aren't you down here? So, I mean, it just makes it interesting. He's going to throw a lot of gas on the fire, and these people are going to have to defend their position. So it should be interesting in that case. And it might actually have some effect on the election. Maybe we'll get some more Thomas Massey's in or some Rand Pauls, but I'm just looking forward to the debate and the fight.
Oh yeah.
Glenn told me to put this on for Yvonne, Dr. Hook. He said because of the eye patch guy. So, I have no idea who is he, man. I'm not old enough to know who is this person.
I think it's some hippie band that died in a plane crash in the '60s. I know that's not true, but I'm just being mean to Glenn.
Oh, they were like the Prigozhins. They died in a plane crash.
They all look like hooky. No,
yeah, they were the Prigozhins. They'll fall 500 miles.
Yeah, well,
I found it interesting listening to you guys talk about Fuentes because, I don't know enough about the guy to have an opinion. He seems like pretty weird to me, but what do I know?
He's super weird, man. He's like a weird guy. I saw him go on the Team Cast.
He's the weird gay kid that lives in his mom's basement.
Yeah, I heard Tucker say that, and I'm like,
Aren't we all, though?
I can see where you're coming. That might be harsh, unfair. I don't know the guy, but I definitely see where Tucker's coming from there. But the thing is, and this is, tying back to what we were saying before, China hasn't got an Elon Musk because you can't just make one of those. South Africa doesn't have one either because he left to go and live in America, which is what happens to the Elon Musks of this world, right? And at the same time, China doesn't have a Nick Fuentes, right? Because you can't be that weird and thrive. You need a free market of ideas. You need people like Vaughan just being entertained with a Budweiser and a hot dog saying, yeah, this guy's a bit of a nutter, but he's fun, right?
His name,
and let's hear what he's got to say.
name would be
Let's hear what he's got to
Fuentes
say.
or something.
But here's the thing, like Vaughan wins the information contest because he's willing to accept new things. He's willing to hear dudes, even though they are a bit weird, that it's not that Nick Fuentes contains the seeds of wisdom or anything else, but only in an environment when you get these unpredictable people like Elon, Nick Fuentes, Tim Pool, Tucker, when you get these weird people saying things, out of that can come ideas that are progressive, genuinely progressive, technologically progressive, socially progressive. And again, in a controlled society where you have most of the population trying to regulate the speech and saying that's bad manners and this is naughty and this is whatever, that's anti-Semitism, whatever it is, you stifle the innovation in ideas.
China
I
is the
find
opposite.
Fuentes interesting like that. I don't think Fuentes is wise, but he's a symbol of a healthy debate.
Yeah, you're right. Because China, from my observation, is that as long as you become too outstanding, you're going to get shut down. Like, a Nick Fuentes, in their Chinese social media, is going to get his account terminated. Once you get a bit prominent and popular, you're going to get shut down. Then if you're going to become like a Elon Musk, your company is going to be absorbed by the Communist Party. They're going to disappear you for a few months and then convince you that you should give up 80% of your stake to the Communist Party. So they'll put unnamed people on your board, and then you just lose everything. That's what happened to Jack Ma. So but that's China, and there's a big news this past few days from China. They just purged their top military people again. Like, I think nine top generals got removed. One of them is a very prominent guy. I think it's the number 2 or number 3 in the military. So allegedly,
what they get? Oh, corruption. The other thing with China too is they've been showing a lot of footage of them launching their J-35 or Y-35, whatever it is, off of the that new carrier with the electromagnetic catapults.
Yeah, J-30.
So they've been
FC-35.
Yeah,
FC-35.
Yeah. They
don't even try to hide where they got the design from.
Oh, I know. But I mean, the funny thing is they had some Navy guys looking at it, and they actually liked the plane because they had 2 engines. They were like, "Is that a heads-up display?" That's so 1980s, but they still liked the twin engine. They thought it was a nice-looking plane, and they said,
I respect it.
But they were talking about
change the name. They don't care. They're just like, does it work?
They don't even bother, right? It looks almost exactly the same, just a different engine. They just keep the number 35, just keep it there. But it's like a F-35, but a practical version. It's like simpler engines. Bigger, can carry more stuff. Simpler. Don't think too much. F-35 is over engineered. Like the FC-35 is simple. And it works.
But yeah, they were showing those videos, and it was pretty. It looked like they were doing a pretty good job of just landing and taking off. I mean, I don't know where they were. I guess somewhere in the South China Sea, but
they only have South China Sea.
and I guess there's a story out there. There's a extradition hearing for a Australian guy who apparently sometime in the past was in South Africa training pilots, and they're accusing him of training Chinese pilots in carrier operations, basically. And then supposedly he traveled to China and did some training there. But he's an Australian citizen. He's a former American, but he renounced his citizenship and became an Australian citizen, and then went to South Africa and did this training and stuff. So it's kind of hokey and bullshitty that the United States is trying to extradite him back when he's as far as it looks like, they're like, well, he's not an American citizen, so he's not liable
Yeah,
for these crimes. But they're going to try and do it anyway. And Australia will probably go along with it.
I read into this. It's pretty full on. It's like he didn't just like walk along one day and fall over a Chinese pilot program. It's like this was being planned a long time ago. And the thing is, it seems that the Chinese approached him when he was an American serviceman, right? And that was why he went to Australia. He was basically being groomed the whole way along. The decision to actually betray America and to sell out their secrets did happen. As I understand, I could be wrong, happened when he was actually an American serviceman, which gives the military law jurisdiction because there's no statute of limitations on selling out your country and the Navy to the enemy. That's going to follow you for forever. And I think that's the Australian government's position as well, as because they looked at it. And
so basically, he was trying to get away from it by like technicalities, by renouncing his citizenship, going to Australia.
Yeah, he wanted the money. He didn't want the heat.
Yeah.
So
I see they didn't mention that. They made it sound like he left the service, and got into that.
No, it's not like he was a happy Australian farmer who then saw an opportunity to teach someone aircraft carrier skills in South Africa, and he didn't even know they were Chinese. No, it was nothing like that. It was a long program to get the information. And the thing is, it's actually pretty serious. It's like knowing how your carrier group's operations are in an up-to-date way. That's a pretty serious piece of knowledge. So, like, it's not some political frame-up job. So, yeah, I don't know. I would have thought that, like, we should, as Australians, we should stay well out of that and understand the American perspective. Because if they don't protect their naval intelligence, it'll just get worse.
Have you seen the carrier operation on a Chinese carrier? If you just make your eyes smaller and blur out everything, you think that it's an American carrier because all the processors, the shirt colors, everything is the same as the American carrier. It's insane. It's like they don't even try to hide it. Like I said, they don't try to hide it at all. I think
it's an exact copy of the Kitty Hawk class. It's just a little bit smaller than the Nimitz, or maybe it's actually the size of the original Nimitz, but I think it's a Kitty Hawk size carrier. So it's a Vietnam era size carrier. So it's gonna, that was throwing A4s and F4s and all that off the deck. So, those Chinese jets are going to be. I think they said
design of the ship is one thing,
too.
But design of the ship is one thing. It's the way how they operate. The crews around, how they prepare the takeoff. The hand signals, like how they go down to you cannot take off. It's exactly the same as the American one.
Just wait till they come out with the Chinese version of Top Gun.
Do they do the dances and shit as well, where they're like,
oh yeah,
same.
grab ass and shit.
Do they have the colored coordinated guys, like the purple vest, orange vest, green, red?
Yeah, exactly the same. If I'm not wrong, it's exactly the same.
And think about it. Why reinvent the wheel when you can just copy what everybody else has been doing for 100 years?
Yeah, again, respect. That's no easy thing to do, even to copy. So I have full respect for the Chinese Navy actually getting out of bed and getting that done. No one else has. What, the Soviets had like one aircraft carrier or maybe two. So it's no easy thing. Just copying aircraft carrier operations and doing it and getting the planes up and down. Big respect that they're able to do it at all.
I wonder why they don't copy it from the British.
Because they need a ship that works and like more than 3 planes working at a time.
They fear the gay.
I just noticed on Instagram was very cool. There's this ship spotting guy, in Singapore, and he's like tracking all the Navy ships, and he just took I think yesterday or the day before, he took a photo of the Nimitz class, sailing past the Singapore streets. It's insane, man. Then every time there's a carrier go past, or a warship, you'll be taking photos, long range photos. It's that's crazy. I've never seen the aircraft carrier sailing past my coast with my own eyes.
Really?
It's huge. The freaking aircraft carrier is huge. It's insane. It's like it's fucking massive. I seen it once, but it's parked, but it's fucking big. You can't imagine how big the fucking ship is, until you actually see it.
500,000 horsepower.
Yeah,
in two engines.
Where do they keep all the horses?
Exactly. Well, they're nuclear horses, so they're in and out of the quantum realm. That's science.
They are all mutant horses, all mutant. They're all like affected. They're like all like hawks, affected by nuclear radiation.
Yeah,
I think
well, I
it's
think
like-
the future is drone carriers. People are saying in the chat, it's true. I think the U.S. is getting on the drone. Is moving the fighter program into a drone focused direction. Which is nice to see that that's happening. Although I wish it happened a bit more quickly.
Ukraine want to sell drones to United States, in exchange for Tomahawk.
Well, I'm talking about
and
that.
Then Trump look at Vance and was like, they are both smirking.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about that new Lockheed Martin
The wingman one, right?
press release. Yeah, where they're talking about the wingman concept.
Is that
for
the Australian built one?
Australian built? Well, I hope not.
But I think I think this wingman idea, if the Americans go pursue it, it's going to be very powerful. Like one pilot, you're gonna have like 5 times the firepower. It's insane, It's and the surface to air missiles and also the the enemy jets, they will not be able to target the real pilot jet. It's not so easy because on the radar it's all just going to be beeps, and then it's like, then you're gonna have like hundreds of jets all flying at the same time, but actually only like 20% of them is actually piloted. It's insane.
There's a Boeing wingman project called Ghostbat. It's the MQ-28 Archimedes. So that's been going on for a while.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah,
okay.
the Ghostbat one's pretty interesting because it's not just like DJI size small drones. It's actually like large. They're designed to sort of like be wingmen for F-35s.
Right.
This program is getting a lot of attention. The Russian, the SU-30, the 57, the SU-57 has got one of these sort of like wingman drones as well. And the thing about them is they're big, and the Ghostbat you can basically take the nose off and put a different nose on, and depending on what nose you put on these things, and because they're quite big, they can carry quite a lot. You can have an E-war wingman, or you can have like an ordnance E-man that's just carrying a shit ton of ordnance to go drop on something. You can have like a comms wingman providing network comms to an area of the battlefield. And so you can swap out the noses depending on the mission. And this seems to be like the future of Western drone warfare, is that you're going to have a basic platform that can move the ordnance or the E-war asset into theater. So it's got to be quite big, right, to carry the fuel.
Well, they've got some. I can't remember the number of it, but there's another drone. It's like the Loyal Wingman. It's a bigger drone that carries, multiple AMRAAMs that would fly in conjunction with like F-22s, and then actually move out in front of the group and engage first, and then the F-22s would ideally just survive the drone attack. But I don't know where they're at on those. But they've already got UCAVs that are pretty good size, so it's probably not much more to put a bay on it and load it up with missiles and a radar and a targeting system.
I read a paper that talked about having, bringing back the blimps, because the idea is because you need so many of these things and they're pretty heavy. The idea was, we'll have a blimp like 600 or 800 kilometers away from the theater, still within striking range, and it can just release these things high into the atmosphere, and they can glide towards their target, get a lot more distance, and also it becomes like it's this idea of a drone aircraft carrier, but it's basically using the weightless gas in order to stay afloat so that it's not spending energy. But other people have said, no, that's nonsense. It would be too easy to take it out. What you want is to have like catapult systems on the ground. So a bit like the electromagnetic catapult on the carrier, but like a ground-based one that just flings your drones up in like throwing a stone in an arc. And if it's aerodynamic enough, it won't need to take over its own flight until it's gliding down from like a large altitude. So it seems like, one of those two ideas is on the cards in terms of having an aircraft carrier for the sky. It's like, how do we deploy hundreds of these wingman drones into theater around the clock, sorties around the clock?
I mean, if they were small enough, I guess you could put pods on like B-52s or something and drop them out of the bays or off the pylons. But if they're bigger, you know, like, but then even then, if they were bigger, you could still probably carry like on a B-52, maybe 4 to 6 large aircraft that would drop off and deploy wings and then maybe take off on their own, you know, something like that. But depending on the size, I mean, they could probably do all kinds. I mean, the B-2s could carry them. You know, it would probably be stupid to send a B-2 to drop drones, but, you know, if you had to go somewhere really, really secret, maybe it'd be worth it. But B-52 could probably carry a few packs of them on the wings and in the bay and, you know, 500 miles out, drop the drones and turn around and go home.
There's not that much difference between one of these wingman drones and a cruise missile.
But the holding power is different. I think if you're able to loiter around and pick targets, you know, update your latest targets, you know, it's different from cruise missiles.
Well, cruise missiles can get pretty funky. I mean, look at Tomahawks, right? So, but yeah, like the idea of the wingman drone is that they would actually sort of go out and accompany the pilot and be deployable by a human pilot controlling a bunch. But I honestly think that like cruise missiles and aircraft are basically converging on one thing, which is to be a cross between a very intelligent DJI drone and a cruise missile. Because a cruise missile can loiter around, it can go up into the stratosphere, it can, you know, it can receive comms. It is a drone to a large extent. So how maneuverable it is, what its top speed is, what its payload is, I think in the end that's going to be the Air Force. It's just going to be like a big variety of cruise missiles to pick from.
But I just find it cool that, you know, the militaries around the world is now moving in different directions. Like now you're going to have very differing, you know, doctrines, which is kind of cool. It's a bit like, you know, post World War I all over again. You know, after World War I, right, because of the tanks, right, you know, everybody have different idea of how tanks should work, how modern warfare should work. Now everybody is branching into different directions. So now we are seeing the same thing happening with, you know, Air Force, where they are now trying to feed in, you know, how do you use drones? Like you see how Ukraine use drones and how Russia use drones is different from how the Americans, you know, conceptualize the drone thing. The Americans are still going for very expensive stuff, but, you know, who knows, it may actually dominate the whole battlefield, you know, because if you look at how Israel has struck Iran and dominated the sky, like it might actually still work, you know, and how Russia has failed to, you know, protect their skies despite they have the world's allegedly number one air defense. They can't even stop, you know, Ukrainian drones flying into Russia. So you know, if you cannot stop the drones, then you probably will have trouble stopping entire Air Force sorties, which is what Iran has faced. Now in Qatar, didn't even know Israel is coming, so, you know, that kind of thing is interesting. You know how the warfare moving forward is going to be like. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, even myself, you know, we have fantasies about how powerful, you know, S-400s are, you know, how powerful air defense are, the radars were. But then these few years is just like burst all our bubbles, because it's like the Air Force are just flying in and just hit their targets and go. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like after all the spending on the air defense, it's like, no, it all doesn't work.
Oh, no, I don't know if that's true. Think about how many aircraft you used to report going down in Ukraine, and that dried up quick. Like the air defense in Ukraine was working, you know.
But those are older generation planes, right? No, they're not fighting.
Well, the air defense is designed for, like, this is the thing about air defense. It's designed for very specific weapons platforms. Some of it's designed for cruise missiles. A lot is for jets. Some is for ICBMs. And so if you are just a Cessna or a drone,
yeah.
You know,
imagine you send a 200 World War II style planes, you know, fighter. They'll be like so slow, the air defense don't know how to shoot it down.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that's basically what's happened with those drone attacks. That was how they did those attacks on the bombers in Russia, was they just saw, you know, if we go this way with these tiny little drones out of trucks from this distance, there is no safety net. There is no protection because they haven't conceived of it. I doubt that'll work again. You'd hope not.
It's so interesting, right? Yeah, I was watching some DCS. It's like on YouTube, like they are using like modern jets fighting against World War II jet fighters, and then they got shot down by the World War II fighters. They're so funny because
Really?
it's like
Yeah, they had. I saw one. It was the IL-2 Donkey versus the F-22, and they fought 3 rounds, and the Donkey shot the F-22 down once because it could just get in there, and he got him slow. But even though he got shot down the other 2 times, he still managed to hit the F-22 in all 3 rounds. It was just that he only was able to get enough damage on him to kill him 1 round. The second time he shot off one of his vertical stabilizers that damaged one of the engines, but he was still able to keep it flying and finish him. And then the last time he just, he knew he couldn't fight the guy in a 1-turn slow fight, so he would just go vertical and dive down on him and shot his wing off. But yeah, it was pretty funny. The little IL-2 Donkey really gave that F-22 guy a run for his money.
I think it's because the missiles is unable to read the flying characteristic of a World War II plane.
They were
weird.
dogfighting, so they were just doing cannons only, no missiles. So they were.
The one I saw is they use missiles. Even the missiles struggles to hit the World War II fighter sometimes, because of the way how it turns. It turns very differently from a jet. And I would imagine that World War I fighters will be even worse, because World War I fighter can turn in an instant.
I don't know about that, man. I'll be flying in one of those open games, and when I used to play War Thunder, like one of those ME-210s, and all of a sudden I get hit by an air-to-air missile. It's like you never even know it's coming because you have no radar warning. You're just flying along. All of a sudden you get blown in half. It's like, damn. But it's fun. Every now and then I'll get a jet, but that's just because you're flying a slow plane. You just get them in a turn or you catch them, But most of the time they just destroy you.
As I understand why the way those target acquisition radars work, it's like it has to work out what it's looking at, if it's just noise or if it's a known thing. So it's actually got like a database of known things. And if the radar signature matches that size and intensity and so on, it goes, I know what that is. And this is true of tanks and trucks and all that. So basically your targeting database has all known threats in it. And if it's not in there, then it just goes, I don't know, it must be a civilian aircraft or whatever. So it doesn't give you a lock. And so I think that's why, you wouldn't be able to pick up any kind of homemade aircraft because it wouldn't be in the known list of targets.
I didn't know how specific it works. I didn't know that, because that would be
it's kind of
insane, right?
You kind of have to know what you're looking at with radar, or you make a decision about what you're looking at with radar, because all kinds of stuff show up as radar, including clouds, birds, locusts.
But the F-22 managed to shoot down the balloon, right? So I'm quite sure they know.
That's a great
Well, they say on the radar though,
he actually painted a balloon on his plane.
Yeah, the F-22 is like the size of a sparrow, but it's like, it's a sparrow that's going 600 knots. It's not hard. I wonder what that is. That little dot that's doing 600 knots, across the screen. I mean, I don't know how exactly it works, but it just seems like they always say that shit, like, the radar cross-section is so small. I'm like, yeah, but if they see this cross-section, no matter how small, it's like, it's the size of a bumblebee. It's like, well, there ain't no bumblebee doing Mach 1 at 500 feet, It's like, it's got to be something.
But you see, Russia can't even stop a giant biplane, flying through Russia, trying to do a kamikaze strike. It's like, it does blows my mind how radar actually works, how air defense actually works. It's like, it seems too easy to break through, air defense.
Do you think that they're getting that good of intelligence on routes to get around that much air defense? I mean, I could see them do it to a point, but it just seems by this point that there would be gaps, but they wouldn't really be gaps that a whole lot of stuff could get through, because they got those mobile gun guys too that drive around all the time, in the back of a pickup truck shooting drones down. I mean, they got. I agree with you. I don't see how all this shit gets through, especially on slow and low stuff. When you got some farmer pointing at us, like, I'm surprised the people that are filming them ain't shooting at them.
But guys, it's like Wyatt said, everybody's had their bubbles burst. Iron Dome was supposed to be the thing, right? Like, Israel was supposed to be the most protected bit of real estate on earth by the best technology, and it's not even very big. And yet, we all saw the Iranian missiles, not Russia, not China, but Iran. We all saw their missiles get through. It's like Israel's Iron Dome did not work. And so if Iron Dome doesn't work and you're going to get missiles getting through, I think that's true of Moscow, Petersburg, New York, anywhere. And of course, this comes right back full circle to when we first started this session, like the whole thing with the Ukraine war. It's like, well, yes, it could escalate into nuclear conflict, and no one wants that, so it's probably not going to happen. And it's the same with air defense. It's like, yeah, you could probably get through. Do you want to? Because that's pretty high stakes. Getting through air defense with a nuke. Probably everyone will have a go. And on that happy note, I'm going to say goodbye. See you all next time. Wyatt, I really approve of this time zone. I think we keep the European riffraff out.
But
keep it more,
more
powerful.
But not enough people to chat, man.
No, there is enough people to chat. We just don't go for 7 hours. All right, Snake, you keep your thumb on it.
Oh, Vaughn, do you want to continue to talk or no? Do we do closing at 3 hours? Oh, you're muted.
I said we could do closing. It's 1 a.m. I mean, nobody else is here. I mean, we covered everything, I think.
Yeah. It didn't last long enough for the Europeans to wake up.
I figured I figured they'd come in because I figured they'd be awake already. At least somebody. Thomas or Upgrade or Prada or somebody. But I guess not.
Yeah.
Now they'll be like tomorrow
not.
morning. I thought you were at 10 a.m.
Yeah. So this timing is actually not that perfect, maybe.
I was thinking maybe even Dan would pop in.
Yeah. Then.
Well, he just had a baby too, so he's probably pretty busy.
Must be busy.
Yeah, he had his baby Felix Alexander Castillo. And it's funny because he said
Alexander.
Yeah, he said with a K, so it's spelled the Russian way, I guess. But he said his father.
Alexandro.
Yeah, Alexander with a K. But he said it's.
He used the Ukrainian way. Must start with O. Alexandrovka.
No.
Alexandrivka.
But he said his father-in-law already claimed the baby as full Slav, a true true Siberian baby. He said that baby looks more Slav. He said no. He said, "Ain't you gonna claim the Mexican?" And his father-in-law said, "There's no evidence of that yet. The baby doesn't even look." He said the baby looks like a little Slav baby. So I guess he got Senya's genes more than anything. But maybe he'll get darker hair later. But yeah, I guess everything went good.
No. Maybe Slavic master race, their blood is more powerful.
yeah. Now you're gonna have the little Mexico starting up there in Siberia. Well, I guess we do closing.
Right. So I think you can do closing then. I think no one is want to come on anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say again, thanks to Wyatt for providing the platform every week. Taking a break, that's fine. It's not like we missed anything. It actually kind of gave time for the map to really get going and have a lot of changes on the map. If you want to know what's going on, watch Wyatt's sit reps and the frontline changes report. I'm sticking by October 31st as being the end of the offensive season, and a lot of bad news between now and then for Ukraine. And I still think there's a good chance that Yampa will be gone by the end of the month, possibly Seversk. I think Kupiansk might have a good chance of being gone, at least the entire east or west side. I don't know what's going to happen on the east side of the river. Pokrovsk, I think there's a good chance that might be pretty much completely encircled in the next few weeks, or at least farther up on that northwestern side of Pacross, and then down around Hulolopi or whatever, Hulolopil. That's looking pretty good. They're moving there. I mean, just keep an eye on the frontline changes report and check in with Wyatt, and you'll know what's up. But I would expect another good week for Russia on the ground and no changes in the diplomatic front. But y'all have a good week. Take it easy, Wyatt. Thanks. See you guys next week.
Thank you, Vaughn. Yeah, I'll see how later. Maybe we will have a part 2. DPA Open Mic 149 part 2 later. So I'm gonna mute Vaughn. So I'm going to remove Vaughn from the stage. Okay. So this is the very surprisingly short DPA Open Mic 149. It's a bit funny. The last time we actually have a pretty late session, then the session just cannot stop. Like the Europeans came in and it's like, the stream just keep going and I have to stop because it's like 7-8 hours for me. But maybe it's because we are now on the new channel. There's just a lot lesser people, so that could be the case. And for those that I kicked over to this to the new Open Mic channel, which is now known as the DPA Open Mic channel. Subscribe, if you have not subscribed, check below, make sure you are subscribed. And I think the past week actually quite a lot of things have happened, but I think I'm just super busy. I didn't manage to cover a lot of the news, a lot of the things happening. A lot of the things is very meta, like not the Facebook meta, but like the things is happening under the current. A lot of things happening. I want to cover them, but haven't. And hi Nika.
Hi, how are you? I was surprised by the late open mic, but I watched everything, so I couldn't reach. I wanted to watch everything. I heard what you guys said until now, so I will not be an asshole. I will not be an asshole and keep you for too long. Don't worry.
I'm not sure if I want to do one more session later. I'll see how my energy level goes and see what. Maybe we'll have another session later. But
no. For me, it will not. Because I was at work and then I wanted to keep up with what you guys said. But anyway.
Surprisingly, we do have a lot to talk about. It seems like a lot of things happen, but it doesn't seem like a lot to talk about.
There is the ceasefire, there is Ukraine and Russia, and Tomahawk missiles. There is some news here and there.
It's very predictable. Nothing is very controversial.
Nothing over the top. But the visit from Putin and Trump, the meeting that they are planning
Hungary.
is. It is something.
That's going to be interesting how Putin's going to fly there. I have no idea how Putin's going to fly there.
That's what I want. That's what I want to know. That's what I don't know. But no one will dare to touch him. No one will dare.
Or maybe Trump will fly the Air Force One, to Moscow to pick him up.
No, it will be too humiliating to Putin. He will not accept that. He will not accept that. I think he will go by Turkey and then south to Greece and to Italy and then. Between Italy and
maybe Italy,
the route. No, but
Meloni will be friendly. Meloni will be friendly.
He could not even he can go between Italy and the Albania and stuff. So in the sea, so it would be international waters or something like this.
Yeah, because if I'm Ukraine, I'm going to take the opportunity to shoot Putin down, man.
Yeah, but it's too far. Yeah, but it's too far. But imagine if they will shoot him, it will be disaster for them.
Yeah, World War III.
We'll see nukes, we'll see ghouls and stuff. But this is the most interesting. But the rest is there is the visit from Shara to Russia too. That's something. That's very interesting. I encourage that to have like both legs and the both feet in the west and the east. That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to do
No,
diplomacy.
I told you guys. I told you he's a smart guy. He's not in a non-rational way. He don't talk too much, and they operate in a more like well thought way. They think before they bark. Because the other Arab leaders don't have any any base. Only the West are supporting them, but he came to power. He came to power with force, with like he gained the power with force, with legitimacy, let's say, and he don't care about if he can split his focus west and east, and it would be like beneficial. It's the best thing.
Maybe he's not a monarch type of person. He's not like not like Assad. He's like a royal family kind of
No,
thing.
no, he's not an
which is
Assad.
why
No,
he
no.
has no ego. Yeah, so I mean that's why he has
If
no
you
ego.
because
Right?
if you
His
see
ego is very low.
Yeah, if you see how he ruled in Idlib, when they have the province of Idlib only, and how they ruled, and you see, for example, now you find a lot of his opponents who are like opposing him now in his government. He tried to negotiate with them and try to talk with them and stuff. Even there's like a few days ago there was the Northwestern Kurdish forces. I forget the acronym. They attacked some areas and like things getting heat up, but then they had talks and calm things down, and I think actually they agreed to integrate into the Syrian armed force. But you see how he tried to solve things, and not only with brute power, not like anyway. It's a new thing. I hope it will continue like this because it would be beneficial for the Syrian people. Like actually now, from 4 million refugees in Turkey, now they dropped to 2.5 million, which is a good thing. There is 1.5 million went back to Syria, which created some problems, as you know. If you have
For
like
sure.
one, yeah, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. The enterprises that were created, they are like a record of societies and enterprises created in Syria for these 9-10 months. It is a record high, and hopefully, there is no money that came from Europe or the West world because there's only promises. This is I think that there's he did like a national like it's like a national. He gathered money from people and from donors, and I think it's more a message than a way to finance the government. It's a way to say we don't only need to rely on Westerners or Easterners to give us money as charity. We need to work our country by ourselves. And he didn't go to the international bank also, which is a very, very good thing because you know how they operate. Anyway, but hopefully Israel
Fingers
keep
crossed.
away. Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
hopefully Israel keep away a bit and like.
I think tentatively, I think Israel, unlike I personally think Israel probably will stay away because no, yeah, Trump is seemingly trying to hold them down now because they overdo it on the Qatar strike. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
Because it's like
it's a
Trump is like,
bad-
had enough. Like, why the hell I continue to support you if you keep sabotaging, his diplomacy? Because that almost like caused it to become a regional war. So, and that's what Trump do not want. So,
and it isolated America too with Israel. They are the only like two countries that are like against everyone else. And as
yeah,
Trump said, you cannot win against the whole world. You cannot, even with America with you. You cannot. That's impossible. Even so, the Western leaders are complicit with it and like tried every way to dodge doing anything. It's like imagine Russia cannot go to the World War Football Cup because the few things that she did, but Israel like had a chance to go. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy.
I think Russia will be. I think if Russia qualifies, I'm not sure if they
No,
qualify.
they
can't,
cannot
they're not
even.
inside, right?
They didn't even like participate to the qualification. They are like eliminated. It's a crazy system. It's a crazy war.
Let's see. Trump will like no force FIFA to like no. You must let Russia in, for the sake of world peace.
Oh my god, it will be crazy. But good thing for us, it's like the most like I think there's 6 or 7 Arab countries. I think Arab countries that are qualified to the football World Cup.
Is this going to be the edition that they start the new format with a lot more teams?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not a very big fan. I'm not a very big fan of football, but I think it is.
Yeah, because they have a new format. They used to be like 32 teams or 36 teams. Then I think they're gonna they want to expand it to have a lot more teams. But
it's either this one or the next one. Yeah. It's either this one or the next one.
But it's insane, everything is happening under the Trump's term. Their anniversary, and then they have the Olympics, the World Cup, and all of this is actually organized by Trump during his first term. And he thought that he's never gonna get to.
But yes and no. Some things are organized and some things. Yeah.
It's like it's written, It's like it's crazy, It's like it's fated that he's gonna skip one term so that he can be there.
It is written that this period will be like there will be like very big changes that will affect us for 20, 30 years ago. That's what's I'm sure of it. And Trump is playing a role in it, a positive and a negative role. You know my point. I don't hate the guy. I don't love the guy. I just see him as he is,
But I take a lot of hopiums about Trump, so I'm trying to be positive about the things.
I know. I was at first, but I saw a lot of things that made me like very pessimistic toward him. Not only Palestine's issue, no. Not only that. This is one like thing, but there's a lot of things that even for American, I don't think it would be beneficial. Maybe his intentions, but
we will know better. We will know better maybe in a year's
15.
Time. Maybe 10 I think 10 one years. More year we will probably see better. I don't need 10 years to see the kind of thing that he's doing right now. I think one more year we will see
it's too short. Coming out. 5 years. No, 5 years it will be a good one.
Some results.
Yeah.
I think by the end of his term it will be very clear. This is why I think because the thing that he's doing is very drastic.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the thing, he's doing all the tariff thing, the drug price thing, all the reforms, the sacking of people, the Doge thing. So I think now it's very unclear because it's still too early. I think in 1 year's time we'll start to see the hints of the real change. By the end of his term, right, it will define his presidency. So I think we shall see how this goes.
When you do a scientific experiment, you try to change some unknowns, but if you change a lot of unknowns, you will not know if the result coming from which one. I did like some scientific research. You have like 3, 4, a certain amount of parameters that you can tweak and change, and each parameter you tweak, you have a result, and you can compare. You can like do graphs and do like this is the scientific method. But doing everything, like changing everything, will you will not know what was wrong, what was good, what was like.
I think it's a perspective thing, because I think because he had his first term. Actually, what he's doing right now is he's just 100 times what he's done in the first term.
Yeah.
So his first term, he did some tariff, he did cut some drug price, he did some negotiation, some diplomacy. He tried everything a little bit. Then now he just times 100 about whatever he has done. So he just go all in, and yeah, it's disrupted everything. So everybody,
Yeah.
a lot of people is very skeptical, and
100%.
I can understand. But I think
But
most of it is very positive.
leading for me, in my opinion, the most are negative in a way and positive in a way, but different than you, because when America is weak, it is positive for me. There is more equilibrium in the world. There is more like you can, for example, if there is no strong Russia or strong China, people cannot like seek balance and seek freedom of choice in their country. They will only follow what's the benefit of America. And the benefit of America is not my benefit, and it's not your benefit. It may be different a bit from your benefit and different a bit from mine. Anyway, but we will see. We'll see the results.
But yeah, we shall see.
1, 2, 5 years, we will see, and we'll say he did a good thing. But I'm sure it's not like based on wisdom. It's based on like
I don't know.
throwing things on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, if I say anything more, people will say I'm defending Trump, but
No, but I understand that
I
you
follow
like
him for a
what
long
he's.
time, so I know. Yeah,
I
so,
know. I
so
understand
he's
that
pretty
you.
consistent, and a lot of the things that he's doing now is actually not him. It's his team. He's the people that he appointed. Ideas like all this, other than drug price dropping is part of his plans, but the investigation into all these therapies and into the autism thing, it's not him, it's actually the Kennedy guy that's trying to push this.
Yeah, but that's a stupid thing. That's.
I'm not sure. Like we
Uh,
shall see, we shall see because they
man.
are
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the investigation. So it's still, and it's so far it looks pretty scientific. It's based on statistics and probabilities, but it's not firm yet. But they say that it seems to have some kind of correlation. So
Yeah,
they are
yeah,
trying to
but
figure out what the hell is
you need
what is actually
you
affecting it.
need you need a lot of scientific evidence and scientific research, and then you can aggregate all those scientific research to have an
Yeah.
idea and to have a proof. But even, for example, I work, as you know, in the field and stuff. There's like, of course, there's limitations. There's always new research and stuff. But even with, for example, Tylenol, acetaminophen is, yeah, there's, it cannot like go to the, it's a, anyway, we will not go to details because it would be
No,
lost.
no, I understand because the thing is, if it doesn't kill you, but it just affects you, in the brain, which is not so clear, like it causes autism or whatnot. It's very vague. It's very hard to study. So
Yes.
they can only based on probabilities. So, but of course, it doesn't kill you because it's been used for many years. So
No,
we shall see. We shall
even-
see. Just like COVID vaccine, right? It doesn't necessarily kill you, but we
Yeah.
do not know what is the long-term implications. So
Of course. But Tylenol is like a very like used and very wide used medication. We know that, for example, the limits. For example, we cannot like use in a for adults. We should not like use more than 4,000 milligram per day because it will hurt the kidneys and the liver and it will kill you. That's for sure. It can kill you because you will be intoxicated. There's people who died because of it, because overdosing, and it's a known question. But anyway, we'll see. Because even doctors
yeah,
will
we shall
say
see.
for pregnant women, the doctors will say try to avoid anything, every medication, and some medication they can take because some medication will not pass through the placenta. I think that's the name in English. That
umbilical cord.
yeah. No, it's not the cord. It's like a medium between the mother and the child. So
The
some
womb.
medication cannot even. No, not the womb. No, there's like I forgot the name in English. Anyway, there's
It's okay. No,
an organ.
we know it's the baby.
Yeah.
The
But there's
baby home.
there's a tissue like a big tissue that separates the mother from the child, and that filters everything. So some toxin cannot even like go through, and they need to check if it goes through or not. And it's difficult because they cannot like test that on a real baby. It's unethical and stuff. So that's why it makes the research is a bit delicate, you know.
Yeah, I just hope that United States do proper scientific stuff. No, that's all,
Yeah,
because
but
the whole world don't
but
take reference from FDA, so it's very scary when the FDA is a bit cuckoo, and then the whole world just follows blindly.
because
So
there's a lot of money that can be gained. You know, a part of the weapon industry, there's the pharmaceutical industry that is the biggest.
yeah,
So of course they will influence in the way that America works, make everything very corruptible with money. So it's not a very good system when you have like weapons and health like valued with money and how much you will gain because like imagine if I am like in a good health and I pass by a pastry, I can resist, I can say yes or no. But if I am sick and the doctor come by and you say you need this medicine and that medicine, most people will not argue too much. Most people will follow through because they are in a weak state, their family in a weak state. And I see that. In fact, you know, the most patient that will have the best like treatment are those who will argue and who will like. And I'm I'm fed up with those, but those are the best patients that will get the best treatment because they'll ask the question, they will argue, they will like think and think again and ask a second and third opinion. Anyway.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
statistically,
a lot
that's
of the countries around the world, they don't have enough funding for research. So a lot of the countries, they just depend on FDA. So
yep.
it's a benchmark. So it is very scary, when you have Fauci, the time that where it's like corrupted, then they push the vaccines around the world, and a lot of the
But
world
go
just
on.
look at the reports coming out from FDA. They didn't do the
Indeed.
research themselves. They just look at the reports, and they like, because the report is well written, so it's like, oh, okay, we
Indeed.
agree.
No, because
And it's scary.
like imagine like for a simple research you need like 5-10 years to have a simple like one stream of medication because you need to go to a lot of steps, a lot of trials, a lot of essays and midterm and long term trials, and like the labs, the scientists, the doctors that will do the research, they will require a lot of money. You need to hire like a scientist who will be like he need to get a well paid to have a well payment, and that will go for years and years, and only big countries can like afford those, like China and America. As you said, if there's money that control that, it can go. But the opposite is not good. It's not like eliminating every vaccine and everything, because I see in my field now people like not vaccinated at all for a lot of things that they suffer for a lot of issues that can be preventable. Like both opposites are not good, both extremes are not
Yeah.
good. We need to do a lot of research, because if we decrease the spending on weaponry and make it to medication, we will get through a lot of things and we accelerate a lot of things,
It looks very cold over on your side. Is it very cold?
Cold?
Yeah.
I'm in Canada, man. What do you expect? It's always cold.
Always,
It's
always cold.
It's always, even in summer it's cold. In summer they say, "Oh, a heat wave." This is I'm in North Africa. I'm practically in the desert. That doesn't affect me. Yeah, I laugh.
Yeah.
For a lot of times they say, "Oh, it will be a heat wave," and this is your heat wave, guys. That's weak, man. You need to come to have a few days in my country. You will see.
Same. So the Singaporeans look at some of the news, which is like, what the hell are you talking about? We are always
Exactly.
32 degrees all the time.
No, but there's some days that, like, in a whole summer here, in the whole summer, like maybe There were for me 1 or 2 days like a bit hot, you know. The rest are good. Like, I put an AC because my apartment is like facing the sun and I have like big windows, so it will be very very hot. Not in a natural way, no. But apart of that, I don't need an AC. But here they are going crazy, man.
So nice. I have to have AC every day, man. Like, you know,
I was like you, man.
every day.
I was like you. I was like you. But even in our countries, which is like we have very brutal summers, very hard summers. Like I didn't have AC until recently in my country, you know, because we have like our traditional ways and how we deal with the heat in a way that like we can survive without it. You know? Yeah, but
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Thank you. Have a great night.
have a good night and
Have a great
continue.
night.
Yeah. I'm going to
Yeah.
sleep.
I shall go and do Ukraine war mapping.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
Prepare for
Good night.
tomorrow's
Good night,
work
Nika.
because I was working too. Bye.
Okay. See you. See if I will do another open mic later. Let's see how. Yeah. So back to my closing again. Yeah. I forgot what I was closing just now. So anyway, yeah, that's it. I will see later if I have the energy and the mood to do one more open mic for the Europeans. Yeah. So otherwise, yeah, that's it. So thank you everyone for watching the DP Open Mic episode 149, where we have very random chit chats, like we can't be bothered with the world. Yeah, and let's see whether there will be part 2 for today's open mic. And yeah, I'll go and do the Ukraine war mapping. And yeah, that's it. I don't have much more to add. And I'll see you guys in the, let me see, next update. Bye guys, and thank you for the super chat. You know, Johari has done most of the super chat, as well as Bridget. Bye guys.
DPA Open Mic. We are live. Join the debate, join the discussion. Share your voice, share your opinion. Swallow your ego, expand your mind. DPA Open Mic, free speech zone. DPA Open Mic. We are live. DPA Open Mic. We are live. Don't hold back, 'cause here we go. Let's go. Let's go. We are live. Fuck your safe space. Let's go. We are live. DPA Open Mic. DPA. We are live. We are live. We are live.
We're all here from far and wide, voices bright like morning tide. In this world of news and change, together we rearrange. Conversations sparking light, from the dark we'll take flight. Different lands and views combined, in our words, new worlds we'll find. Rise up, speak out, together in the open mic. DPA echoes through the night, guiding the world to what is right. United not by where we stand, but by heart and open hand. Every voice a vital thread, we weave the truth in what is said. Rise up, speak out, together in the open mic. DPA echoes through the night, guiding the world to what is right. together in the